Oh, hi Duncan. It's me,
Hello.
Richard. You know me from doing this together. You remember?
It may come back.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry,
Whatever.
I'm eating yogurt. This is my dessert. It's yogurt mixed with some of my wife's diet protein powder, which is quite nice, and prunes.
To help your movements.
Yeah.
Keep you regular. Regular. Oh, I always forget.
What have you been up to then, Richard, this week then, Richard? What are you doing?
Hi, Richard James Jackson here. You might know me from such channels as YouTube, the channel. That's where I live, in a box on the internet. What have I done? We had an Alien Isolation stream on Saturday night, what you came into, briefly.
Oh, yeah.
I've had to do a working today. I've been very busy. If you were to peek behind the curtain, you'd see this dirty takeaway bag because I had to order food very much at the last minute.
Well, you still haven't told me what you ordered. I think he's a bit ashamed.
Oh no, chicken. I was at Chicken Cottage, mate. No shame. I shan't be takeaway shamed. What else happened this week? Oh, I bought my little brother a Raspberry Pi for his birthday. Not the pastry confection, the small single board computer.
Very good.
Because he's doing like an engineering HND, and I thought that'd be cool. So he's either going to use that as part of his HND coursework, or he's going to make a retro machine with it, which is kind of what I want to do.
Hey, that's my idea.
It was my idea. Duncan dialed in, and I was shoveling chips into my face, into my maw.
I was shoveling yogurt into mine.
I just felt so ashamed though, because you've got like water and yogurt and prunes, and I was just eating grease. Doesn't mean tomorrow I'll just sort of go in on the salads or something sad tomorrow.
I had for my dinner, I had a lightly seasoned chicken breast with brown rice and steamed vegetables.
Yeah, see, that's a proper dinner for healthy people, isn't it?
Yeah, but not tomorrow I'll eat.
I think I'm
boiled
tomorrow.
Piss.
I'll eat boiled piss, whatever that means. Like if you said I'll eat frozen, I'll eat piss and gelatin. I do wonder what. Oh, you really could just make piss jelly, couldn't you? If you really wanted to.
Imagine so. Yeah.
The science checks out.
Raven.
I'm going to make you into your window. I'm unsatisfied by your presence because you're zoomed in too much. I'm going to put your window to a more. Also, I'll do some shop talk. Let's do some shop talk. People like shop talk.
I do quite a lot.
Oh, that's true. Let's get you in there. There he is. That's much better. That's well better, Casey. Look at that. You were zoomed in before. I didn't like it. We should. I'm wondering. We should probably do this on Zoom.
Oh really?
Yeah, I did Rari's I did his podcast again on Tuesday night, and I think he might be in contact with you again soon as well. And he uses Zoom, and my experience with Zoom previously wasn't very good, but having used it again with him, I was kind of like, actually, do you know what? The issue we have is because your sound's coming through Skype, so your sound is a bit shit, whereas on Zoom, sound seems to be better for both parties. Plus, the way I would capture our respective images would be a bit easier.
Oh, okay.
So perhaps we should. I didn't want to get all up on your dick about Zoom like just before a stream. So
I have Zoom, so it's not a problem. But yeah, we should do that. I know a lot of people use it. Yeah.
It's
or the lesser Microsoft Teams.
The lesser. It's funny.
Speaking of which, Stan Wilkes has just sent us £5, and he uses Microsoft Teams, but I won't hold it against him. He says, "Haven't actually seen this one, boys, so I'll send my regards and hop off. Possible RoboCop 2 live stream. All the best."
I would do RoboCop 2 live stream.
I would.
We would get loads of shit for talking about RoboCop.
Well, it also has to be voted on by Patreon.
That's true.
Yeah, so.
Your options this week are RoboCop 2, the second RoboCop film, and the first sequel to RoboCop. There's your
cashback.
I'm doing a for those who are aroused by the concept of crowdsourcing websites. I'm doing a private watch party tomorrow on Patreon. and we got a number of films suggested. Carl Goddard, I just seen in the chat, I added your suggestion to the pile. I think what I'm going to do, Duncan, I'm sure you'd like to know, I'm probably going to put them all in a hat and take one, because I think there are the number of people on the $5 tier that have put suggestions in. I think doing a vote would be a bit insane, because I think everyone would vote for their own film, and each film would get one vote. So I'm going to put them in a hat.
That sounds good.
I thought it'd be quite good, and I've chucked in a Q&A sesh. Q&A sesh first.
Am I not doing that? I thought.
No, you are. You are. This is separate. I just wanted to. I just throw a bit of value. This is just about me. Fuck you. You know the fuck you lot. Fucking actor prick.
That's fine. Which I also need to. I do need to set the date for. And I will. Andrew Capitz has sent us £10 over at the good old PayPal.
God bless.
Every week.
God
yeah,
bless.
Cheers, mate.
I'll tell you what I found out this week, my lover. I'll tell you what I found out. So I've been doing work with Bob and Barn, which I told you about, and I was back with those guys today doing some stuff. They're setting up their Patreon. They are composers of film and video games. Weirdly, coincidentally, they scored the film I Am Soldier, which Duncan was in, and that's fine, and we talked about that. But they scored the Hat and Garden Job as well, because they know your mate. I won't dox anybody, but they know your friend, the producer of that film, and Erica.
Ben. They know Ben.
Yeah. They didn't score Erica, obviously, but they know. Okay, I didn't want to say names. They know Ben.
Ben Jakes. Well, I think anyone with an eagle-eyed, keen sense of how IMDb works would be able to figure that out pretty good. Yes, no Ben Jakes. Oh, okay, wonderful.
Yeah. So, and I was kind of like, this guy. They don't. I hate to say this, they don't recognise you. I was kind of like, look at this handsome man. Look at him, this handsome man here. That's my phone. I'll pretend. Right. They didn't recognise you from scoring it, but it's been a while since they watched it. But I was kind of like, it's two.
I was cut out of the Hat and Garden Job, and
you were?
Only briefly in I'm Soldier. Yeah. They offered me they said you want your scene, but I said no.
Well, my advice is that anybody who sees the Hat and Garden Job in the wild should smash it on the floor and scream in protest. Scream in protest. This is the worst film ever made. I haven't seen it, but Duncan Casey isn't in it, and it's therefore the worst film ever made. That does create an existential quandary in that, therefore, all the films we've watched, except one or two, are the worst film ever made. But,
I have a friend through a friend who is in a car club, supercar club, and he watches all my films and he writes really nice reviews and he's very sweet, and he's really, really lovely guy. And he said he was like, I saw Hat and Garden Job. I was like, oh yeah. And he goes, before I could say anything, he goes, I saw you. I was like, you didn't. I was cut out. Really sorry. But he's like, what? That wasn't you in the prison cell? I was like, no.
Oh.
I felt really awful. He sat through a whole film thinking he was going to see me and thought he did. And then. Have I jumped? I've zoomed in again.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
I think that Finnegan McGinnigan. That's because of we're going to fucking Zoom. Jesus Christ! Give it a sec, it will change again. We're going to Zoom. Shouts to Dan Ford, who's lurking in the chat. Lurking. That's this Star Trek top was created for Secret Garden Party when we all went as classic Star Trek, and my friends who don't really watch Star Trek very gamely let me make them all Star Trek tops. So Dan's texted me going like, "Oh, you got your Secret Garden Party top on."
See, Richard did make a slight commitment to wear some sort of costume.
Yes, and I admit it's a bit half-hearted today, but I am. I thought it was space appropriate, right? Like,
well, I think a plaid shirt isn't is pretty.
It's your Sam Neill before he left Earth. Your Sam Neill in his life with his wife and baby or whatever the fuck. You got to suck in your guts real hard, like Sam. Not that you need to, but like Sam Neill.
I do ask all of that.
You got to do that, man. No, it's fine. I've got some. I'm going to squeak through because I think I've realised there's some I can do quite sort of tentatively, or at least tangentially. I'm definitely going to do Dr. Loomis from Halloween because I'm basically just bald geezer with a beard in it. Ivan's got a trench coat, wearing the white shirt and the tie again, and then I'll be winning. So Dr. Loomis one week. And then the week after that, I thought about wearing spandex ray guns Val Verde hockey mask. I thought that'd be quite cool.
Yes.
Because that seems super on brand, doesn't it? Super appropriate.
Yeah.
Actually, let me just get your copy of Event Horizon. No, I'm gonna get my copy of Event Horizon. In the. Yeah, man. Let's do Zoom. let's absolutely do Zoom. That's Jackson's theorem.
Okay.
Let me just get that up. Because I just feel like, and I definitely noticed, I felt like the image and the sound quality was better from what I could see. So yeah, I'll be back on the Woodstock podcast soon, which is on Spotify. And if you go on Spotify now and other services, you can find an episode of the Woodstock podcast with Duncan and one with me that's already in the can. If you want more of us in your lives, unlike everybody else who knows us, if you want more of us in your lives,
unlike my friend Richard, who watches all my films, and clearly can't get enough of me in his life.
Can't get enough of that wonderful stuff, and by stuff I mean Duncan.
If anyone hasn't tweaked, like I've been listening to Oast House, like
yeah, I'm so glad. I'm so happy.
Yeah. So
isn't it great? Isn't it?
It's brilliant.
Good.
It's
so good. It's perfectly pitch perfect Partridge.
Yeah. But it might actually be the best or one of the best. I mean, I've only got onto the third episode now, the dating one, but I haven't. With his what's the dating agency? Echelon.
I was off on a bike ride when I heard that bit, and I genuinely had to pull over and have a bit of a giggle. Like it was just, I was doing when I was training for the big one, I was doing like a 30-mile ride, and like you're supposed to keep your pace up. I listened to that the whole training session, and I was just pulling over and laughing at things like that over and over again. It was just so good.
It's just so good.
Yeah, you've got so much more coming your way. Good stuff as well. All good stuff. And it's just, there's a particularly good episode that gives you sort of an unprecedented look at the inner life of Lynn, which is really, really great. So yeah, I'm oh no, I keep making Duncan disappear. Zoom next week, Zoom. I'm very tired and I just ate really quite a lot of carbs. So I'm just sort of gonna do that thing. I might just do that thing where I talk to stop falling asleep. I don't know.
I'm the same. I have a baby. So
oh shit, who am I talking to here? Yeah, of course.
No. I understand the level of fatigue when you've been out working all day, like on your feet shooting, like, and then you get home and you stuff a load of food in your thighs, and then and then you're and then it's like all the adrenaline shuts off. The energy drops. I get that totally. So it's very different. It's the off the cliff, whereas I've just been a sort of steady.
Just the sigh of a broken man, isn't it? Yeah, that's fine. That's fair, man. Today I put my camera in a bin to get a shot. We had like the Tarantino shot of going inside the bin.
Nice.
Because we were recording kind of like an attract video for their Patreon, and they had the script, and we just kept up making it. It was quite fun actually, because we were just making up dumb shit for them to say the lines to. And Bob was just kind of like, oh, let's just make it funny. And it's like, oh, okay. So I think there's like one of them stuffed in the back of a car boot. There's the camera in the bin. There's just holding up, like sort of deadpan holding up a stuffed toy. It's very stupid. But I think it's gonna be great. Gonna be great. Yeah, go support some composer Patreon.
A couple of PayPals. I'll read out. Michael Small sent us 10 American English pounds and says, "Big reveal! I am the husband of Annalise Moskler.
Oh, bro!
I'm very
Congratulations.
glad she didn't." Both break up with me and set me on fire when I introduced her to this channel.
Has been known to happen, yeah. Not merely the destroyer of relationships, but the ender of lives.
Val Verde and combustion. She's now Patreon too. Wow, you could have. Wow.
Wow.
You could have. Patreon. You could have shared one. It's a bit like Netflix. You could share a subscription. You just can't stream in HD in more than 2 rooms. These streams have been the genuine highlight of my year during our escape from indentured servitude in a Chinese international school. Big love to you both. Oh, that's very sweet. Thank you, Michael.
Congratulations on your upcoming nuptials.
Indeed. I hope they're able to go ahead at their full at the full capacity, because we attended a wedding with friends in July, which was a socially distanced wedding in a church with no hymns, no talking, and no fun. And it was really
And the fun police were there to make sure.
Yeah, they were, and it was really weird. But there we are. Philip Knowles sent us 15
Wow.
Ukrainian, Russian, English pounds. Says, "Good evening, gentlemen. Very good choice. We didn't choose it, Philip, actually, but there we are. That was a good friend, folks, over at Patreon. Time to open a nice bottle of red and relax."
Oh, he sounds classy. That's
Yeah.
more of what we need around here, said Mr. Greasy Fried Chicken Fingers wearing a homemade Star Trek top.
Yeah, we both lamented to each other just before we jumped on that we didn't have time to get any booze in, so we'll be dry. We're going in dry.
I did properly consider, because on Uber Eats now you can get booze and groceries, but it's kind of inflated and a bit, and I was kind of like, oh man, do I really like order chicken from one place and then go straight back on and get like some Strongbow from Asda brought to my house? And I was like, do you know what? Maybe don't. How about don't?
Yeah.
Maybe don't do that. The chicken's bad enough. I haven't been running this week, so I'm gonna have to go running tomorrow and probably do some weights and just sort of generally engage in, self-flagellatory exercise.
My wife and I do that every morning. We've subscribed to Les Mills. So we get all the workouts and stuff, and we just stream it via Apple TV to our flat screen television. But it's just a bunch of Kiwis kicking our ass. We do body combat.
Sorry, it's always funny. Body combat.
It's honestly, while I'm doing it, I'm taking the piss out of that.
I can hardly believe it, Duncan. That doesn't sound like it at all.
Jeep, strike.
I mean no ill will to our Antipodean cousins, but your accent's
of course
amazing.
Not.
Your accent's amazing. It's just the best.
Pivot from the hip.
Pivot. Oh shit! One of my friend Holly's a Kiwi, and like. Shit, well, she knows I do it, but her boyfriend was called Nick, but it's not though, is it? It's Nook. Nook.
It's not though. It's Nook. Yeah, I know. I can't help it really.
Ian, don't be daft. No overlay from Ian this week, but don't worry, it's not because you messed up or anything. Just I didn't hear from you, so I knocked one together quick. Get back in touch if you want. You don't have to, but you're very welcome to anytime you want. I'm really tired. Yeah, it's like I've had a baby. If anything, it's worse. I don't know what Don's complaining about. I don't really mean that at all. Speaking of Kiwi things, maybe I should add bad taste to the list of things for the private watch party tomorrow, because that seems to just go on YouTube, as does Brain Dead, which I find really odd. Because I'm sure they're I don't understand why either of those are in. I don't think they're in the public domain, but aren't being enforced on YouTube. Because I think, horror films get these gourmet Blu-ray releases and things, and you'd think someone would be kind of jealously guarding the IP. So I think we did Bad Taste Picture in Picture previously in our incarnation on T'other channel, because it just wasn't being enforced, which I find really odd. It's Peter Jackson's first movie. Like, come on. Also great Halloween fun, and a sheep getting blown up with a rocket launcher and all that. It's fucking great.
Is Bad Taste the one with the aliens and the house?
Yes.
And right. Okay.
Yes. I love it. It's supremely silly. I just love the whole. Jackson had a really great line in, because obviously it's very gory, but the scripts are very dry. It's very dry, deadpan kind of humor, and I really like Brain Dead.
Or deadpan.
Deadpan.
Yeah, the humor's quite deadpan. Sorry.
Oh God.
The good news is they've got a long way to come if they want to beat us up.
That's true, and they're slaying it at the moment. I am Snorlax talking about Jermaine Clement and Taika Waititi, and it's like, and fucking loads of Kiwi comics, and the fucking Kiwi comedy, man. Those motherfuckers are hilarious. Like they're just the funniest cunts. So I guess Stephen Hines gives £5. He says, "Just discovered Space Above and Beyond. It's well worth watching. Jim Robinson from Neighbours got wiped out in the first 5 minutes. Hope you're well." Spoilers for Jim Robinson fans. Jim Robinson was in 24. I don't know if you know your Neighbours, but he was in 24. He was in 24 as well.
Get the actor's name. Yeah, he's in He was in like the Marvel films as well.
Yeah, he was one of the council people in Shield or whatever.
We can't do that.
I'm American, you vagina.
Nick Fury. I wear the boots around here. He has been around for. He was in not California. The OC as well. He was in tons of stuff, and it was like he didn't age. Like it seemed like he spent the last 25 years as the same man, which is bizarre.
A portrait of Dorian, that guy.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like the Patrick Stewart effect. I think if you go bald early on, like much like yourself,
such was my plan. Yeah,
you won't age now until you're about 60.
It is mad because Patrick Stewart is old ass now, so it's kind of more noticeable. But he was definitely in that place for ages because, like in Star Trek and in the stuff he did in the 80s, he is actually rocking like a silver horseshoe. And if you look, I think quite the early Star Trek, quite a lot of it's still salt and pepper. It's still fairly sort of black. But for some reason, it's just like, no, he's always looked like a bollock forever. And then I do it as well. And it's like, okay. Because then definitely, I don't know, he's got that kind of, that era of aging, that kind of post-war aging. But, in like Star Trek Next Generation, he's like 18 or something. It just looks so rough.
I could drink now.
But not in America.
He's got one of those weird hybrid accents that's supposed to be Yorkshire, and I guess you can hear it kind of, but it's not really.
Well, he does. Did you watch the Who Do You Think You Are about Patrick Stewart?
No.
It's really upsetting and very depressing and quite sad because I won't go into it, but their dad was traumatized in the Second World War, I think, and he's come home and used to beat their mum and stuff. It's awful. But he does, like, he switches into he's like, "Oh no, I'm a Yorkshireman," and then anyway, back to my normal voice. So he does that kind of switch. It's like your man from fucking Doctor Who. Who's the guy? That's so vague. The guy with the American accent who was a big deal. Wait, I'll find out.
Right.
John Barrowman.
Oh, he's Canadian, isn't he?
No, he's Scottish.
But his accent is.
His accent is
right,
he's Scottish. He fucks off to America and then took on like American accent. But then it was either his "Who Do You Think You Are" or whatever, or like a program about him where he just did the thing where he starts talking in a Scottish accent, and it's like, okay, yeah. So I don't know. Who am I to talk? I don't fucking know. I always going about being fucking Scottish, and listen to me. Do I sound like it at all? No, because I grew up here. It's just a cheap way to claim a personality trait, isn't it? Or a tawdry collection of them that you can sort of listlessly glom onto because you've got no fucking imagination. I'm talking about me, not John Barrowman. Though I do think that is true of John Barrowman. Sorry.
Have you finished?
Yeah, I think so. I'm just so tired.
I'm rambling.
Rambling.
Yeah, not whittering, which is different. No, like Lorraine Kelly. The Scottish. Speaking of Scottish accents, we started watching. I'm not. How best to phrase this? I'm not normally one for British television. I like working at it, but I tend to find the sort of endless slew of detective shows, sort of Scandi light detective shows, a bit dreary and a bit and samey and not particularly like inconclusive, like irritatingly inconclusive and sort of depressing and like that Dr. Foster program. I sort of started watching that and kind of got a bit fed up with it.
All of that
looks
just very dour to me because
it's so overwrought.
And it's kind of like it's like I think what we need is a detective, but they can't stop having miscarriages and they're terminally ill and their child died, and they're just it seems like you have to have these tragic heroes all the time, or at least have something awful happen to them. I'm not being glib about those situations, but that seems to be what's kind of lumped onto them. It's kind of like, he was a normal detective until his wife's bum fell off, and then she could never sit down again, or whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's usually like divorce or adultery or whatever. Anyway, but we started watching Des, which is that thing with
about Dennis Nielsen.
yeah.
Oh yeah. It's based on it's based on Dennis Nielsen, isn't it? Or it's
Mother.
based on the book about Dennis Nielsen.
So we only watched the first episode, but and I was sort of dreading it, but because it looked on the face of it to be like that, it's actually really good. I was initially really, this is such a British actor thing to do, I guess, of a certain age. But I just sat there going like, oh yeah, oh he's in it, is he? Yeah, yeah. It's all right, mate. I didn't want a job. No, you're all right. That's same people. Fucking hell. David Tennant. Oh, he hasn't had a job in a while. But then, they're all brilliant. They're all absolutely brilliant.
That series is excellent.
Fucking good, man. Yeah. It's really, really good. Well, I've only watched the first episode.
Well, because he really looks like the real Dennis Nielsen, doesn't he?
He's fucking ace as well, Tennant, in that. He's really, I mean, he's a great actor, but he really, like...
I think Daniel Mays is... I really like Daniel Mays, but he's great in that as well.
See, I don't like him, but I think he's good in this. I think he's really good in this.
I mean, the whole show's good. I think we sort of...
Well, sorry, that's not... Let me correct that before I give it... It's not that I don't like Daniel Mays. I think he's overcast, or he's miscasted a lot of stuff. I think he crops up in things, and I go, "Why are you in there?"
Right.
Like, I don't
he's in it. He is in everything. Like, they put him in fucking Rogue One, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, that I didn't get, but he's brilliant in this. He's really well cast in this, and I think he's really good. Yeah,
we sort of watched it in one marathon depressathon. I think because there's only 3 episodes. It's 3 parts, isn't it?
3, yeah.
And it's based on a book, and the author of the book is in the show as a character because, but it was really good. Fucking David Tennant, man, like he was amazing, and he looks like Dennis Nielsen. He's a Scot like Dennis Nielsen, and just. God, because the Anthony Starr who plays Homelander on The Boys, right? Mm-hmm. Amazing, scary sociopath. David Tennant as sociopath or psychopath, fuck, he was good. He was so good as that kind of narcissistic, arrogant, it's just like you don't want to watch because it creeps you out. Which is good acting. That's good acting.
100%. Yeah, no, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. Yeah, I think it's really well cast, and I think it's really well. It has a visual style to it as well that's a bit more engaging than I think a lot of British television, which is that sort of weirdly locked off and not particularly. Not that it has to be cinematic, but it seems very stuck in the televisual style when it's like we don't need that anymore. We can have we can shoot big stuff with scope and things. But I think ITV have always been. Have always been pretty ahead of the game as far as TV. I mean, like they created like Downton,
isn't it? Like the dramas, prestige drama is their thing. I think
definitely,
very much,
definitely, and I think they're really good at it. So
anyway, that kind of thing generally isn't my bag. So I wouldn't. I very rarely have any business watching ITV because it's mostly kind of dramas like that, which I don't tend to watch. But then, I know that case. I think I read the book it was based on when I was younger. It's kind of like it's interesting, in Doctor Who's going to be the killer. So yeah, and the visual style, it was like it was nicely cinematic kind of period piece. And if I think they legitimately needed 3 hours to tell that story, if they could have got it down to 2, it would have been a great feature. But I think it probably would have lost a lot, in terms of its fabric and stuff.
Well, I like as well that they're doing that more now that they're sort of, I think that's something we do well in Britain is tell the story and shut up. We don't keep it going and keep flogging the dead horse until the ratings drop off, and then we don't tend to jump the shark. I mean, I guess you could point to some things where that's happened, but I think generally speaking we don't. I think we're pretty good at that. Yeah.
Yes, we used to. I think Americans like to take the piss in a good-natured way about I think Community did a riff on there's they take the piss out of British sitcoms. It's like, it's the longest running British sitcom ever made. They did 8 episodes or whatever. Because some of that Only Fools and Horses went, but it's still nowhere near as long as an American show. And then Fawlty Towers 12 episodes, like The Office 12 episodes in a special or 2 specials, whatever, stuff like that. Sean Danaher, 4.99 in the Superchatten, as they call it in Deutschland. Evening, chaps. Can you confirm if I will or won't need eyes where we're going? Yeah, I can confirm that you will need eyes because we'll be watching a film, but not within the fiction of the film.
And an adequate internet connection. I should think.
We just hit.
Well,
the
we're
time.
on the money. Yeah.
I
Okay.
just did a sort of Porky Pig by accident as well.
Will I watch it on my iPad off to the side or on my laptop screen? I think I'm going to watch it.
Alf Lapus Topus. Does you? Okay, so I'm doing it on Prime. So
selfish.
I know. My copy starts directly on the Paramount logo. Does yours?
Well, I can do it on Prime too.
You have to. Oh, sorry, no, you have to pay for it on Prime. Don't do that.
Oh, did you know? I thought you had Now TV.
I do, but it's signed up to too many devices because I share it with my brother and I have to sign up the Xbox. And I was too busy eating chicken, so you know. Okay. 139 people in the room, 141 if you include Twitch as well. Hi.
Well, hello there.
Hello there. Welcome
G'day.
to Kiwi Val Verde Broadcasting. Not with that accent. Don't listen.
How are you? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I can't do the accent.
How are you? Kangaroos with 3 vaginas.
Kangaroos. Oh my.
Right.
Good eye.
Be here.
Right. Tell me when you're ready.
Should be. What's going on? What's going on here?
Do you have a copy of Event Horizon? Get it ready now.
I have it on DVD, but I think I'll just watch it on
digital versatile disc. I don't know why. I have no idea why I did that.
I don't know why.
It's going to be an interesting
story.
Barrel,
innit? That's
a
right.
barrel. Look at a
You're
barrel.
right.
You know.
I'm gonna watch it. On my laptop, so it keeps my eye line to the camera, or if you will, down the barrel. Right. I am good to go. I too am at the Paramount logo, so I think we're all right.
It's my turn to count. I have decreed. I don't know if it actually is, but I'm making it my
We're
turn.
going. We won't use numericals.
5.5. 4.5. No. I was going to count from 5, and then if you press go on your copy of Event Horizon when I say go. How about that? Easy. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Going.
Hey, Sam Neill, you want to go to space? There's no hell there. Bye. That's the original opening to Event Horizon.
Oddly grainy Paramount logo, but there we are. And then, of course, it changes.
That seems quite a crusty. But I suppose this film is always older than I think, isn't it? Like, what year was this? It's like
97.
97, yeah.
The thing is, I think it's designed that way because I think it's supposed to look a bit old. Because then, obviously, we do the transition over the mountain, and it's kind of like, it looks quite cool when it starts to parallax and shift. But it's a bit of a I don't quite understand why we've gone to the lengths. You would think they would reserve that for very special films, and this just sort of does it, and then just cuts to this Doctor Who ass techno, which just looks
they had high hopes for this, right? I think that's the thing with it. They had high in the sky apple pie hopes.
This looks like a dunny flushing in Australia because it's going the other way.
The old reverse dunny.
If I flush the bog in my house, Jack Noseworthy flies out covered in blood.
I just Jack Noseworthy's name.
It's like, get a stage name, dude. Noseworthy.
Pick one.
Or at least put a hyphen.
At least hyphenate. Oddly enough, the guys I was working with today, Bob, one of his friends was working with Michael Kamen on this score when he used to share flat with him.
Very good.
So
we do have sort of a few degrees of separation from Event Horizon because our location manager on Hallows Eve was also the location manager for this. Which, when I was told that, my first glib, stupid response was,
I know where you're going with this.
Wasn't this all just shot at Pinewood? What did you have to manage?
Mine would have been from the location manager of Event Horizon, because that's the kind of tenuous kind of 2015 guys. Look at the space future, dog.
I know. I do like this opening. I suppose it's something you probably have to call a guilty pleasure, but I think it's quite good as a film. I don't think it. I mean, the sort of lofty aspirations aside, I think it does what it says on the tin and buggers off, and it doesn't sort of.
When this came out, this was everything teenage me wanted. Teenage me always wants a sci-fi film with a timeline at the beginning and text explanations of things, which is a horribly clunky thing to do. But when I was a kid, like that was just like, yep, I'm in. This has everything I want.
If a film does that now, it is like that's shorthand for we really can't tell the story properly.
Yes, I kind of feel a little bit. I was even disappointed, like the voiceover at the start of Dread. When I watched it, I was a bit like, do it in the movie, like do it through text. You don't have to. But at least it wasn't the scrolling text like in the first movie. Great, the ship is great, or the ships, I should say. Very good, kind of
the model work is,
you know.
Because I think the pullback from the space station later on took something like, I can't remember what they said it cost, but it cost like a significant portion of the budget just to do that big long pullback. That's an Omega Speedmaster professional moonwatch, which I used to have one of those, and there's no bloody way it'd still be ticking in space after 7 years or however long it's supposed to be. And there's a book, I think, that's got Paul W. Sanderson on it. And here's me after a night with my child. And a razor blade
rotating in his front room.
Rotating in his front room, covered in his own feculence.
That crash out of his eye is mad cheesy as well.
Basting like some sort of horrendous rotisserie chicken.
Some like demonic rotisserie chicken basted in his own feculence.
Yeah. Basted in his own feculence.
Oh no, me dead wife. I hope I don't go to Space Hill. Oh, Sam Neill.
Sam Neill always sounds like Pierce Brosnan to me in a lot of ways. Like, should have got that same thing, that kind of breathy, whatever.
I saw that Sam Neill screen test for Bond the other day. I had no idea that was a thing.
Yeah, that was to take over from Roger Moore, I think. But not at the time that you would think. I think it was around Octopussy is when they looked again, because it was James Brolin. That's right, James Brolin was good because Roger Moore had been out of contract for a couple of movies and they'd had to renegotiate each time. And then it was, yeah, that's right, because Octopussy went up against Never Say Never Again. So it was the threat of Never Say Never Again meant that they weren't willing to take the risk, so they went back to Roger Moore. That pullback shot of it is a full size. It's like a model that they put in the soundstage, and they had to literally. I think that might be the 007 soundstage they used for that, because they had to pull back so far.
This kind of stuff, that's amazing.
Like, and nowadays, obviously CGI or whatever, but
yeah, sure, but yeah, it's a different kettle of fish, isn't it? It's hard work for different reasons. That CGI.
See, this sort of just jumps straight into them on the voyage. I think there's a cut scene where he goes into a briefing room and some people tell him, "Whoa, in space," and then we get to space. But honestly, I mean, it doesn't do anything that the briefing scene later on in this does. But you do have to wonder the sort of like, would they send an entire crew out to Neptune without telling them why they're going or what's?
Yeah, unless they know that it's hell, which they clearly don't.
Yeah.
So this is the thing. Like the thing is with this, it's a solid 6 or 7 out of 10, right? Like it's. I think this is a candidate for a remake. Like you could do this again well, because I don't think it's sacred enough. It's really beautifully shot and designed, like all that stuff's great. The concept's great as well, and like, I just sort of think the script is a little bit kind of cliched and a little bit flat, and it's so derivative of Alien.
It's Alien, Shining, and what's the other thing? Oh well, Hellraiser, I guess, or whatever. It's that sort of. It's an amalgam of that kind of stuff, isn't it? It's The Shining because it involves the kind of guy slowly going mad and sabotaging and killing people. It's got the alien thing, obviously, because they're going out to rescue thing, and then Hellraiser because it's about hell. About hell.
Do you think Jack Noseworthy looks like John Bon Jovi if he was a lucky troll? because that's my. I mean,
I tell
he's
you who he
better
looks
looking than
like.
I am, but
He looks like the inventor and voice inspiration for the T800, T850. Sorry.
we can fix it. Also, boo,
Yeah.
boo.
You suck,
You
McBain.
suck, McBurn.
See, all this stuff is fine, but I see, like you say, there's the clunky dialogue stuff and the expository stuff. I think all the actors sell it brilliantly, but there's a problem with things like going up to a doctor who invented a spacecraft and saying, like, because he goes, is the water really necessary? And he's like, oh, without it, the shock would liquefy your skeleton or whatever. And it's like, yeah, you made a spaceship. Like, you made the most advanced spaceship in the world. You don't think he would know that?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, I know how to make these things go, but what happens to the people inside? And that's someone
Re-
else's job.
Yeah, remind me why we're doing this.
What about me skeleton? Will it turn to water?
Oh, I don't like the sound of it.
Not
Then you
in
might
spice.
You might mistake me for water and flush us down the dunny. Or something.
Dunno. Because this is a great kind of little. I love the kind of litany of cool actors though, because like Jason Isaacs and Sean Pertwee, and of course Fishburne and stuff, and like it's a really cool cast they have here.
Oh yeah.
I did find, so I much prefer Sunshine to this.
Okay.
They're very similar, obviously. Sunshine, is definitely quite derivative of this. I think when Mark Strong plays me on a cloudy day when it's 21 degrees. In Sunshine,
In a stiff breeze.
In a stiff breeze, yeah. That character is very similar to when Sam Neill goes all Hellraiser in this. I mean, they're not the same thing, but like it's the way it's covered and the way he looks and stuff.
For such a sort of commercial failure, and totally objectively and arguably a bit of a hodgepodgey mess. Look at it. Look at his bandy middle-aged legs. Would you look at him there?
Look at
hairless
his
as a baby with his bandy legs. This has been weirdly influential, like in like Dead Space, obviously. Like all this, I don't know why, because this, as you say, is a complete hodgepodge of other influences. And I don't know why this became such an influential film on somebody, but it has. Like, clearly it has. Like, even Interstellar borrows stuff from it. It's weird.
Yeah, it's funny. I think I just feel like everybody saw it, and I think it's this weirdly frustrating film, isn't it? Because it's so close, and just look at it. It looks amazing. I think that's a big part of it. I think people kind of glom onto it, but just because of, I think we've used the phrase "less than the sum of its parts" before. I don't know if it's necessarily the case here, but like this is so high end in so many respects. I think
what works about it is that it's more than the sum of its parts. Actually, I think because I think when you look at each constituent part, you're like, well, that doesn't. Nah.
Oh, you're going the other way. Because to me, I'm sort of like top-notch production design, great camera, great cast. But then again, I suppose really the script's a bit shit, isn't it? But
I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's it's definitely. I mean, it's one of those films that obviously found itself on home release rather than on initial release, and a lot of the cock up with that was due to Titanic, wasn't it? Because James Cameron pushed Titanic back. Paramount needed something to fill the summer slot, and so they insisted it had to be this, which meant that Paul W. Sanderson didn't have anywhere near the amount of time to finish it that he should have had. And I think he cut it. He did a rough cut in like 2 weeks or something, didn't he, or 10 days? And then
he had to kind of slam it, because then the extra hell footage for this film's kind of semi-mythical, isn't it? I mean, I think it exists, but like it's this sort of strange lost holy grail thing. And there's talk that the director's cut is better. I'm a bit older now, and
are you?
Yeah, I know. It happens every day. It's weird. I used to sort of go like, Paul Anderson's a poof head that smells of butt or whatever, because it was trendy to just shout about things on the internet. I still don't like him. This is still his best film, and he's still a dreadful director. But I feel sort of terrible saying that. because apparently he is just like the nicest guy, and he gets
Yeah.
British crew and actors work, and he's supposed to be a really great dude. But it's just the amount of things that he's been given, things that I like that he's been given, and he's done a bad job with.
Yeah,
Looking
I
mostly
mean,
at like Resident Evil and Aliens and Predator and stuff.
I think he's someone who stylistically and conceptually shoots for the stars in lots of ways. Like, I mean, when you look at he put the pitch that he did for Alien versus Predator online, didn't he? I remember when that film was before it even came out, and it was this insanely like stylized thing. And then when you look at the final product, it's like, oh, I don't think you were able to realize that. But then he is someone who comes in, I think, and kind of goes, I can make that for a third of what you think.
Well, it seems that what became Prometheus was
Cashback.
remember when it was going to be James Cameron and Ridley Scott doing Alien 5 or whatever? That was what I think they basically Ridley Scott was pitching for a sort of $120 movie, $120 million movie, and Paul Anderson's come in and said, like, I can do it for 50 and also something completely different. And of course they're going to go with that. And the thing is, I don't doubt for a second, and this is the thing as well, where I'm kind of less keen to sort of just rag on the dude, but he clearly, that's the worst part about watching that pitch for Alien vs Predator. He clearly loves the characters and the world, but doesn't have the chops to sort of deal with it. I mean, he's a multi-millionaire film director that's married to a fucking hot Russian model actress, so what the fuck do I know? But
I mean, yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I it's fair enough, but I think there's a lot of people. He still manages to pull in quite top draw talent, and
oh god, yeah, again and again and again.
Even for really like Pompeii. Did you watch Pompeii? I watched some of it, and I was like,
no,
it's just it's the most green screened thing. It's really weird. I didn't get it, but it's got Kiefer Sutherland and it's got Kit Harington and it's got I was like, fair play to you. He does look like I reckon you'd have a right laugh working with him. I gather that he is the nicest person to work with, but yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I don't like you say, I don't like to having complained about actors being cast in TV shows and that they're all the same. I don't like to to rag on British filmmakers really, because I think it's a very rare and splendid thing when we actually are able to do it. So more power to the guy. I mean, I agree. I mean, I'm not a fan of like the Resident Evil films particularly or any of that stuff, but I like this. So he got something right.
Well, I did. By the time of the final Resident Evil film, the filmmaking, like his filmmaking by the time of that film is incomprehensible. Like I actually found it genuinely in the cinema. I found it hard to look at because of just the way he completely violates the kind of rules of space, essentially, where you place the camera and kind of how characters are placed in relation to each other and cause and effect, and then really quick cuts for no reason and these really sickening kind of like weird floaty 3D camera POVs, and it's just I just couldn't watch it. Like I did and reviewed it, but I just couldn't deal with it. Sean Northridge gives €5. Time for the horror of Sam Neill. Just going to throw a weird one in because I'm pissed off, exhausted, and colouring a pin-up. Red, blonde, or brunette genie. Let's go for the redhead. What do you say?
Sounds good to me.
I'm thinking of like a kind of partially gaseous Christina Hendricks. Christina Hendricks after a particularly dodgy kebab as well.
She does look oddly inflated.
Pneumatic is what they say.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, a wild Angelo appears. We've got moderation in the chat, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Hey. Yeah, they're a good space crew. They're really well cast, as I keep saying. It's mad how there's that kind of school of design, which I think stems mostly from Alien, where even like Red Dwarf looked like this, with the little crew bunks with the shutters and all the pictures and stuff on them and whatever. And yeah, there was we did the Alien Isolation stream on Saturday, and I think we're going to come and do another one on Saturday coming. They got that because you and I did a stream on Alien Isolation ages ago. Like they got that aesthetic so nicely. How many times in films are we going to see that someone folds a piece of paper in half and punches it with a pencil? So much sci-fi stuff. Oh, dude, there are more than that.
Oh, are there?
TV as well. Yeah, absolutely.
See, this is like we got this recording, and it's like okay, maybe
you probably don't. Should we not? Let's not.
Yeah.
How about not? Who votes for no?
You would think as well, like when you see the size of it and everything, you're like, why would you not send a bigger crew? or could you not tow it? Like, or is that? I guess you can't, but like, that would be my thing. Is like, let's just tow the bugger back and then worry about it. But the thing, I think, do you know what? I think the thing this is really successful with this film, more than anything, and I think what's partly to blame for that is the fact that you're never on Earth, you're never at home. You see Earth briefly at the start, and then, but you're never shown anything familiar, and everything is dangerous. You have that really gives you that sense of like, you're stuck in a ship that wants to kill you, and if you don't get off it in time, you're going to run out of air, and you know what I mean. That like there's just nowhere you can hide, and it gives you that unrelenting, like really horrible sense of dread. And I think that's what I think its first two acts are strong. I think the third act is where it perhaps loses itself.
And the stakes in this are I mean, because it's literal hell. Like, it's awful. It's like, at the very best, you're going to be horribly murdered by Demon Sam Neill, and at the very worst, you're going to also go to actual hell.
It's a bit ambiguous as to whether or not it's actually hell.
Yeah,
or
okay,
not.
or like the hell, the maggots and chains dimension, or whatever.
Yeah, because I think there are different drafts of the script and different things where it was literally hell, and then it wasn't, and then it was left ambiguous. And I think the ambiguity is probably the better thing. I don't get this bit right when they're going through the cloud and they're like, proximity warning, we're right on top of it, we just can't see it. It's like you're in clouds. Stop. Because they come out of the clouds
and it's sky before.
They come out of the clouds and it's like, whoa, and it's like, you knew it was there. You said you knew it was
We're
there.
in clouds, we better go faster.
Yeah.
So just briefly, DOP, I mean, because the link here, I mean, Adrian Biddle, who photographed Aliens, and also Judge Dredd, and a few other things, clearly brings that alien verse aesthetic to this, and the look as well. There's the kind of the group shots and things, and the wides, and I'm pretty sure it's kind of anamorphic. And there's just you'll all be very glad to hear me say that because of the wide lenses they use in this film, there's lots of barreling. But that's just one kind of piece of connective tissue, and again, having someone like Biddle, and then also having Mark Kamen again, produced by Lawrence Gordon, who Predator, Die Hard, all that. There's a real pedigree, quite a diverse pedigree of sort of like mainstream American cinema in this. So it feels kind of high end. I think it's somewhere around the $26 million mark, isn't it? This
is it
in 90s money? I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to check that because I did have a little read earlier, and it might just be like it made $26 million, which is not the same thing.
Made $26.
Made $26. This is one of those. I rented this from my local corner shop because it used to rent videos. The box office is 26 million. I'm talking out my ass. Let's have a look. I knew it's 60 million. That's more like it. Because I was going to say all those fucking models and stuff. Jesus, I caught that one in time. Please don't write in.
It seems like a lot of hay is made over like, oh, it's made out of Notre Dame or whatever, and it's like, well, yeah, I don't think and then people are like, oh, it's that, like, that's profound, and it's like, I don't think it is. I think it's just purely there as to give an aesthetic. I don't think they're necessarily saying anything with that.
It's profound to people that get all their information from IMDb trivia sections.
Yeah,
it's the classic sort of like, oh, but yeah, it's a very nice touch, and it's a very good piece of visual storytelling and everything. But yeah, it's a nice thing to have. Someone, I think I am Snorlax, said, don't forget to mention the war. Sam Neill's badge trivia. Do you know about the badge on his uniform in this?
Well, I know that they've all got their own countries on their uniform. I think his is all of them, or what's his? I can't remember.
So his is there's a proposed version of the Kiwi flag that removes the Union Jack and replaces it with an indigenous symbol. I don't know the exact details of that. He's quite a big advocate of that, so he had his character wear that because he wanted to say in the future that would have happened. So that's his thing. And for some reason that came up. Some fucking website or whatever posted that up a week or two ago, weirdly enough. There's a bit of, sort of top 10 things you didn't know about top 10 lists. Oh, well.
Those chairs are so weirdly, like, they whiz round really easily. And then Lawrence Fishburne's like, I'm the captain, so I don't have to make mine whiz round. It's on a motor, and Hung can see.
He's kind of he's like it's like the chair from Team America.
Yeah. Because Sam Neill wasn't born in New Zealand. He was born in Ireland.
Wales, wasn't he? Oh, was he Irish? Well, he's born
No, he's Irish.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought he was born in Wales.
No.
No. I'm bloody James Bond. I'm a bloody dinosaur man or whatever. I'm Sam Neill. I need to stop doing that. It's just really bad, but it pleases me. I love this great 90s graphics for things. It's just a picture of the ship with a yellow line going over it. It's like, oh, good. It's analysing whatever that is.
Yeah, they say like, oh, it's bioscanners or whatever, and it's like, what does that mean? I guess. Well,
it's so because we all have so much really quite advanced technology in our hands. There was a time where you could just go like, oh, we're scanning the wavelengths for bioorganic signs, and it's like we would just go, yeah. But now it's like that doesn't mean anything. What are you talking about? Like, what's that mean?
It's the thing of this as well. Like, is it Justin, the Jack Noseworthy, has like a cable attached to him, and then like he sort of, it's a bit thrown away, but as he goes down, he's got a cable attached to his bum or whatever. The other two don't, and I'm not sure why. Is it because he's young and
new.
Infantile and
He's new.
he's like, no, enough, Jack Noseworthy.
Yeah, you got to wear your cord, mate. You're still training.
And then because that enables them obviously to pull him back conveniently out of the black hole. But it's like, why has he got a cable on the other day? Don't understand.
Yeah, that's well penisy. Where's Geiger when you'll need him?
Yeah, well, we're dead, I think.
No, he died later than this, I think. But I'm sorry,
no, I know,
I'm
but
dead. Oh, right
now.
Oh,
There's inconsistencies here as well because there's like a bottle of water floating that's sloshing about, but everything's frozen.
right.
Like that, there's like icicles and stuff. So it's kind of like we can do this in CG. It's like, yeah, but should you? Because I don't think.
Yeah,
like,
there's a lot.
Yeah,
of,
there.
A lot of this era of like 90s stuff, particularly high budget, is like going in with the CG stuff when it wasn't quite ready. But then if they didn't do that, it would never be ready. So we have to be sort of grateful for that,
Yeah.
I suppose. Someone's got to go in and do it. When he's lying on the airlock, he looks like a stranded baby. Just waggling his legs about and shit.
Is that where you're at?
No, it was a sec ago.
Oh, okay.
He was just going, There's a few kind of interesting visual things. I love at the end well, it's not I think it turns on at the end, but like the drive itself, where it's all those kind of concentric gyroscopic circles with the light on. That's a really cool. And I think it's CGI as well, but doesn't it expand into kind of a sort of orb? Is that what happens when it?
Well, so it's sort of it's a big take on the Hellraiser box, but it's also, I think it's like they line up, don't they? It's all this, and there's some sort of throwaway comment about it contains the singularity. I mean, how the hell that would contain a singularity, I don't know, but these are supposed to be this. It's like the 7 circles of hell as well that you're supposed to go through to get to it. Like here, you go through the kind of circular door, and there's it's just it's supposed to look like hell, like you're descending into hell. Obviously, I don't get the lightning thing, like, because aren't we in space? Like I know there were clouds and stuff, and it says they're in a decaying orbit of Neptune or something, but it's like
It's just, I suppose it just needs to look infernal, doesn't it? That's the idea. That the fucking the laser scanner thing is very like Aliens.
Where are you right now?
I'm at like 26:15.
Oh yeah, same. 26, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so we're all right.
Weird. Weird. I'm watching the super secret director's cut with all the extra footage that no one else has seen. Paul Anderson gave it to me because I say so many nice things about him.
Your dad taught him karate.
And my dad taught me karate. See the the tunnel kind of being an eye shape, I've always liked. It's kind of like eye, and then it's kind of got that. it's all dirty, but it's a little bit like stained glass because it's kind of translucent, isn't it? Down its kind of down its shaft.
Well, yeah, and especially like on the bridge, I think as well. There's clear like stained
the,
glass
the tunnel of
stuff.
razor blades is just like, dude.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, I know there's a rail, but could we have some glass or something? I'm really not all right with the tunnel of razor blades.
Yeah, I don't, and they never really. I mean, like, what is that?
Well,
What's it for? Like,
that's right. Well, it's to get rid of all those floating water bottles and shit, I guess.
I guess so. Because there's that thing about that. There's explosives down the corridor that will destroy it and separate the ship from the gravity drive or whatever. But it's like, and it's a safety precaution if something goes wrong with the gravity drive. And it's like, well, A, it did, and B, that didn't work. And secondly, you have to arm it because later on, when Lawrence Fishburne arms them all, you have to go one by one arming them, and then the remote detonator thing release is at the end, the wrong end. It's at the end where the gravity drive is that you're trying to get away from. So presumably someone has to go arm all the bombs, then run back along the corridor to safety, then detonate it. It's like, right. Like,
Right.
who designed this? Someone who doesn't know that you need to go in water.
Definitely, when you travel from one end of the ship towards the gravity drive,
Yeah.
it seems to have been designed by someone who perhaps really got into sort of 9 Inch Nails as they were working. Because it gets spikier and hellier the closer you get. So there's more and more sort of like... It's like they started at the back quite preppy and then just got really helly as they got closer.
Yeah.
Henry Glennon says, the razor blades to keep out the spy stingers.
Fair enough.
Spy stingers. I think Event Horizon is in the same universe as the Omen trilogy, says Floyd Dillon. And Event Horizon is about the devil trying to claim his son, Sam Neill, back. Have you seen the Omen 3 with Sam Neill?
No.
He plays grown-up Damien in Omen 3, which people forget. And I really like Omen 3, actually. And there's a bit where Damien tricks Ruby Wax into shooting a man in the head with a shotgun with their kind of spy versus spy style trap. That's great.
That's interesting.
That's great.
Ruby Wax did that sort of thing.
Yeah, she did a bit of kind of... It's a very small role. It's a very small role. But she used to pop up in weird places. And now, nowhere? No more Ruby Wax. There will be no more Ruby Wax. Oh, you've got to check out Val Verde Broadcasting. They talk about Ruby Wax.
Because they're current like that.
Yeah, mate. On
They sit
fucking
around
Saturday
talking
night,
about
we're
Ruby
talking
Wax.
about fucking Benny Hill.
We sit around talking about Ruby Wax and listening to Anastasia.
Listen. That's it, mate. Yeah, that's the one. Exactly. You can
Talking about the latest Duffy album.
Duffy! Fucking hell. Oh my god!
Wasn't she kidnapped? Didn't she get kidnapped?
Yeah, she had some
that
mad
messed up?
drama. It's really fucked up. Yeah, absolutely. You can your Val Verde Broadcasting branded shag bands are now available, and wallets on chains.
And Oakley's.
Oh, I hate. Why do people? This comes up quite a lot. Why do people still wear Oakley's? It's the worst thing in the world. They're really bad.
I had some back in the like 2000 or whatever, like the kind of wraparound ones that every dickhead had.
That was then. It's people still do it because fashion crimes of the past. That's fine.
Yeah,
but like still doing it because you see, it's always geezers sat in the front of their car in Oakley's. You see someone who's taking a selfie.
See, obviously this speaks to both of our respective confirmation biases because I tend to see them on cyclists,
That's
which they're kind of designed for. I mean, in fairness to them, they are sort of designed.
Doesn't make
for
it
that.
like any less of a cunt, but yes,
no,
they are.
But yeah. I think I had some with were polarized, of course, and had had a sort of carbon fiber effect.
Orange
made them go faster or something.
made them go for. My shoes are faster than yours. I've got one of my friends who I consider to have very good judgment to be a smart guy, and is a very close friend of mine. Still wears Oakley's, and sometimes if we meet up and he's kind of like, I'll pick you up at the station or whatever, and I just get in this car and I just internally go like, why are you wearing Oakley's? Why? I love and respect you on many levels, but not as much as I could.
I paid good money for these.
Yes, in
20 years ago.
2003, we looked after them so well that I can't. Just loads of. It turns out loads of our fans are geezers in the front of their car and cyclists, and they've just all unsubscribed because they just go, no, the Oakley fan club.
I have a pair of tortoiseshell Ray-Ban Wayfarers. That's all you need.
Tortoiseshell Wayfarers. You do have tortoiseshell Wayfarers. I have a procession of cheap mirrored aviators because I used to have some nice aviators and I fucking lost them, and I've just found that I lose sunglasses, so I'll never buy expensive ones again.
Well, I used to be like that with watches and stuff as well, but then when I started buying expensive ones, you don't lose them.
I did it the other way around. I lost the expensive pair, and I was like, well, I'm not doing that again.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's just put me off. There you go. People are just going like, oh, good, they're talking about sunglasses. Because all this stuff, by the way, the photography here is fantastic. The kind of rescue of Jack Noseworthy's character, because there's that rotation, and then you get the kind of reverse on that character's visor, and all the lights are rotating with him and stuff. Like, the staging alone of this is incredible. I mean,
yeah,
being able to watch it with the sound off and talk over it, I think is the best way to experience Event Horizon. So you don't actually end up engaging with it properly, because all the stuff we've seen it all, but I think it's a real shame that we've seen it all before in a lot of ways, like all the sparks, the smoke coming out, because it is amazing, and I think we're just spoiled a little bit, you know.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think I don't. This. I think the kind of criticism that gets thrown at this about it being a complete rip-off of different things, while valid, also doesn't stick, because it's like, yeah, but it has in and of itself gone on to influence tons of other stuff, and it does have a style and a feel all of its own. It's weird. It's like it takes all those things, but yeah, I mean, in a way, it's a greatest hits album of sort of sci-fi and horror, but in another way, it's like, I don't know how to describe it. Sort of, it has got its own thing, and it has its own kind of.
Because Sunshine is also a best of collection. It's
Yeah,
wildly derivative of stuff.
but why
It's
do you
really
think
great, but like
that hasn't? See that I would argue, and I sort of would agree with you. I think I prefer watching this, but I would agree that Sunshine is the better film. But why do you think that hasn't sort of had the legs that this has had?
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Perhaps because this exists, I don't know. Because I remember, like, when Sunshine came out, it was kind of like, oh well, Alex Garland just nicks things, and it's not incorrect. Like, because 28 Days Later is also a best of collection of horror things, but repackaged very nicely. And 28 Days Later, of course, has had the legs, and Sunshine hasn't. Great movie, you know, but it's people don't go on about Sunshine. There's no real desire to sort of discuss it or rescreen it or anything like that. Because I prefer it. I prefer the stakes in Sunshine, not just because they're larger, because it's like, oh, the sun's going to melt or whatever. But I just kind of feel the personal stakes are a bit higher, and that I prefer the kind of the relationships and the sense of sacrifice. Amazing soundtrack by John Murphy, is it, for Sunshine? Really beautiful soundtrack.
Great soundtrack.
So I don't know. I haven't actually watched Sunshine in ages. But and that again, because that's silent running, and it's loads of different things stuck together. And this, so I haven't seen the Space Hellraiser. Have you? I assume you have.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I have. I mean, it's not really a Space Hellraiser. It's set in. Yeah. It's like a 3-part film. It's one of those annoying ones where it's like we go back to the Victorian era or whatever, and then we jump to the. So it's kind of like the story is told from space, and it's bookended with space stuff. But it's not. The main film isn't set.
So is it because they build a lament? They build like a space station in the shape of the lament configuration, and then that causes bad things.
That's the kind of end, is that the guy has built, the ancestor of the ancestor of the ancestor of the guy who made the box has built a space version that will send Pinhead to hell, and it's like, that's where he lives. No, it's not. I'm being glib. That's not actually what happened. It's I think it's designed to like work the other way, so it creates like infinite light or something, and that is what will kill him, or some weak ass.
This will send Mickey Mouse to Disneyland.
Yeah, exactly. But it's really unfinished. There's some terrible CG in it, and it's the last one I think that had a theatrical release, but it's god awful. But it's not no one's fault. It's just I didn't have the money. You know, it was really cheaply made. I think.
There's no, because I haven't seen it. I don't really. So there isn't anything similar to this. It's not like someone opens a gate to hell or anything.
No. No. I mean, someone does obviously because it's Hellraiser, but it's not. No, it's not like this. No. No, and I wouldn't say, when people sort of hand wave this, going, well, I think Hellraiser in Space was the Hellraiser in Space. It's like, well, yeah, but that's not what people mean when they say that. And it's like, yeah.
Of course, the obvious thing for this is Doom, and Paul Anderson didn't write this, but Paul Anderson is a self-confessed video game fan. You wouldn't know it watching Resident Evil, but I do believe he is one. And Doom and Hell and Space are very different tonally, but it is a very similar thing. In Doom, they find things on Mars that they want to use for science, and then it goes to hell, and that's bad. So it's kind of similar, and that's very much like the biblical Judeo-Christian hell. There's no really ambiguity there. Like there's like demons with horns and pentagrams and stuff, as you know.
I gather with this, like especially in the kind of, because the original script was very much about aliens rather than like hell or spirituality or anything, and but I gather that the idea behind it was that the singularity is what hell is. It's like, because that's obviously, it's all about the unknowable, right? And what's the ultimate unknowable thing for humanity is what is at the heart of a black hole, because it's the one place we can't see technically because of the event horizon, which is obviously the point at which even light can't escape the gravity. And there's this just talk about like when everything is crushed to nothingness is what, I mean, I don't know if that's a biblical reference. If nothing, I mean, because God is the creator, then the opposite of that is nothing. So nothingness must be what hell is, you know. So going through or going into a black hole or using a singularity, inherently means you're playing with the other side. You're going into hell.
Right, because it's a binary opposition of existence and non-existence, and
yeah. So I think I gather that's what it is, and there's stuff in the shooting script that didn't make it. I think about like seeing the other place and it being this sort of void, obviously, and like there's a big gloopy hand or something. I mean, it's all kind of like, I don't know what that means.
And lo, a big gloopy hand or something.
Yeah. Yeah, like there was this huge dark planet with a hand coming out of it or some bollocks, I don't know. Doesn't make any sense. Well, it is bollocks, really, because it's got nothing to do with any of this, but anyway. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, cool. Because you get those kind of flash cuts, don't you, in this, of like nasty things, but not really.
Yes, which I think is, when people are like, actually, out there, there's half an hour of hell footage that was cut from your movie, and it's like there might be a total of half an hour of like B-roll or like dailies, but there's no way this film is like an hour and a half long. It wouldn't have been 2 hours with like just this random segue into hell.
A quarter of it's just screaming and chains,
just to ram the point home. It's like, I think using it sparingly is absolutely what I think was what made it so effective. I think being, watching someone bugger someone with a pipe and like you can actually see his dick fall off or whatever. It's like, it's not. I mean, that's not the point, is it? It really isn't. The point is that we want to get away from it. Whatever the fuck it is, we want to get away from it. And seeing how horrible and brutal it is enough. We see enough to know that we don't want to go there, right? So it's like, do we need that?
Is that what we want? Hey, and it's 1:37, and I don't think it, because this is one people clamour for the director's cut of this, and perhaps, because there's more gory stuff in it, but I don't really think it needs any more. I think anything else would be in danger without staying its welcome. Because we have done we've done a more straight up commentary of this in the past,
lots of them.
and I remember this quite clipping along when we watched it around yours. I remember it like I never feel like it drags. I quite like, because all the spooky stuff of them being haunted is cool and it's scary and gross. Because if a kid, I guess he had like leukemia. Did they say? I can't remember. Like,
I think something like that. Yeah, he's wheelchair bound and stuff. But yeah, I know. Well, it's yeah. I mean, I think I do think it's weird. It's weird because I do think like I would say it's definitely well paced and it doesn't outstay its welcome. and that is definitely a positive. But then that is also because of its rushed post-production, so it's kind of like,
Yes, true.
you know,
It's quite
I don't.
lean for a rushed edit. It's quite lean.
Yeah, I think it's funny because like there's lots of the stuff that did surface, which I've got a DVD with the deleted scenes or whatever. The stuff they could find was all a bit. It was just sort of extensions of what's there. The only thing they cut out that I think should have stayed in that I'm aware of was the whole, the tank at the end fills with blood, and then like The Shining, it explodes and cascades down on Jolie Richardson and stuff. And it's like that was originally supposed to be Weir kind of reconstituting in the tank, and like you saw his hand press against the tank or something.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And it's like sort of half zombified hand, and then you kind of get the shot of him coming down the ladder backwards like The Exorcist and stuff. And I was like, well, I don't know why you would cut that out, because I think that's pretty cool, and it explains why he turns up again.
Yeah, because I still think that works, because I always kind of inferred he was reconstituted from the fact that he's nude and bald, and
yeah.
kind of infer that. The captain of the Event Horizon is one of the council judges from Judge Dredd, by the way.
Right.
No one was asking, but you better fucking believe I'm going to tell you, motherfuckers.
No, that's good.
But I love this. Like, it's so, like, again, it's like, well, it's only going to work if it's got green light, smoke, and giant spikes in it. Like, it's just is so hellishly designed. I kind of like this. This is good kind of techno hell. The kind of the tubes and yeah, all this stuff. I think because when this stuff starts to come together, there is like, because we're about halfway through. There's a really nice, I think, sort of like you touched on. There's a really palpable sense of dread. Really, really good sort of feeling that something bad is happening. You've gone too far, because this stuff. The kind of infinite green crawly tubes. It's great. It is that alone is quite hellish, because there's a feeling that you're in the bowels of something.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm just gonna
There he goes. My subtitles are in fucking capitals, so it looks like everyone's shouting all the
time. I haven't got them on, but I know this film pretty well now at this point. That's because she says we have such sights to show you, doesn't she? Which is just a rip-off of...
Yeah, that's like it's not like a one-to-one...
Pretty much, yeah.
I'd say it's a homage, but, it's
not. But yeah, no...
dolly zoom there that makes the fuck... that's really good. They do this dolly zoom that way. Sorry to interrupt. Dolly zoom that way, but then the lights go off this way. So there's that false extension of the set, but then a very physical one where the lights go. That's a really nice... But then it's Biddle, so I suppose,
Where are you at again? Let's have a timestamp check, because you seem
44:40.
Yeah, so am I. But you sound like, are you still in the thing with?
He's in the green hole.
Oh God, I'm already in the hole. They're standing around the table yelling at each other.
How long is your one? How long's yours?
I don't know, because it doesn't give an end time. Oh, it does. 1:30, 1:54.
Oh, mine doesn't give an end time either. Oh well.
I can pause and wait to catch up.
No, I'd say let's not. I don't think that ever really gets us anywhere when we try that. Sorry. Folks.
All right. Well, what was I going to say? Yeah, the Burning Man, who you'll have just seen come out of the water, I guess, is Noah Huntley, who was in Snow White and the Huntsman, and I did sword training with him.
Did you talk to him about this at all?
No, I don't really get to talk to him. But
don't talk to me.
No, I was the Burning Man. Go away. I know that's what you want to talk about.
Do you know who I am? People always, because he's always on fire, and people go like, "Are you the same on fire man from Event Horizon?" He goes like,
"Doesn't that hurt?
Aren't you sore? Can you go inside sheds and wooden buildings? Just because I'm on fire, it doesn't mean we're all the same." But yes, I was the one from Event Horizon.
But why? Yes, I was.
He was lying on the examination table. I've got a 10-inch dick. My uncle works for Nintendo. Bruce Lee taught me karate.
Well, there you go. That's another link, I suppose, I have to this film. Tangential, though it may be. Trying to think of any others. I've been to where they filmed it, I suppose. I've worked where they filmed it.
Hell,
yeah.
I've been to hell, yes. I've filmed the Tool Station advert. In hell! Because their rates are very good.
Or Ponders Bridge. Not Ponders, but Portishead. What am I saying? Portishead. Yeah, I ruined that joke.
What if when they activate the gravity drive, it takes them to Hull? they discover pangalactic travel, but only if you want to go to Hull.
There was a sort of mix up on the. Yeah.
I quite like that because then it's just like because what I would really like to do if I have loads of money is to take that way too far and just create a whole fictional universe where people are able to teleport back to Earth. You can travel as far away from Earth as you want, but you always end up back in Hull, and Hull becomes this galactic spaceport, and do a really po-faced sort of political allegory about.
No.
Oh no.
I do think this film,
Cashback.
that thing of making background, sort of having lots of green, sort of acid green background stuff. I mean, even for the time, but especially now when we're so used to seeing behind the scenes footage and there's like bits missing with big, huge green screen in them, it makes the film look unfinished. Makes it look like they didn't comp in what they were meant to. You know, that's what that is a sort of go-to thing for now. It's like you watch the behind the scenes on a Marvel thing and there's a guy over there with a green arm. There's a tiny bit of set and then just a huge green screen filling in gaps and stuff. And it's like, that's what it looks like.
But yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Because like we take all that so for granted now and we all see it all the time.
Yeah.
Whereas there was a time when you could just put green things in the background and people wouldn't go like, "Oh, you missed something. You missed a bit."
Rob would know. But, if
Yes,
he's here,
very
Rob
true.
Myers, if he's watching, I don't know if that's a.
I've seen Rob Myers. I've seen him. Jay Weatherford gives $5. Legend of Hell House in capitals. Also, Event Horizon or In the Mouth of Madness. In the Mouth of Madness is probably the last great Carpenter movie, right? Like, doesn't try.
Yeah,
to copy
probably.
the others.
Yeah, probably. You're right. Yeah.
It's in the middle of a fallow period as well, which is quite nice. That
I think I'd probably again find this a bit more watchable. But In the Mouth of Madness is a great watch. It's one of those films that has this weird sort of time vortex thing in The Mouth of Madness because it always feels like it should be longer. Like when I watch it, I'm like, oh God, is it? It feels like more should happen in it than does. It's
Right.
weird. Do you know what I mean? I'm watching.
Oops,
So it just seems over really quickly, and it's like, oh, right.
Yeah, but it kind of races to the end. I like how everything in the kind of the fiction of that film starts to collapse in on itself, which is of course the point. But it's really nicely done. It's really nicely handled.
Yeah.
I just need to go over there and get more water. I'll be back.
Over there.
Over there. I love you in a way.
He filmed one over there, and he filmed the other one over there. Yeah. What are we saying? We'll go to Hull, Massachusetts. Wow, there's a Hull in Massachusetts.
Ah, double.
But then there's an English city name somewhere in America, and I won't say it's because the Americans are culturally bankrupt. It's actually because we went there and named everything because we're the ones who can't be asked to come out. It's like New York.
Hey, fucking, there's Cambridge in Massachusetts, and there's Birmingham in Alabama, and all sorts. It's all over the place because we just lazy. I can't imagine. Can you? I mean, I know it's easier in retrospect, but turning up into this fabulous new place and going like, I don't know. Where are we from? England. Call it England. Like fuck's sake. Think of something. Try.
Yeah.
I know you got to put a flag in it and designate who owns it, but don't just name it after we just came from. You boring
Okay, all right. New England.
cunt. No, Amara, England. Where is Zealand?
Yep.
Exactly. New South Wales. I know where Old South Wales is. It's in South Wales. But Zealand. I know where York is. York's in York.
Maybe it was a German saying, "Oh look, there's Zealand."
Again.
The land be. But they dropped the second one.
They dropped the second one. It was too complicated. Zuzzle for short.
Zealandsy.
You can, Yeah, what I like about that is that it took me too long to get it, and then I choked on my water.
Serves you right.
Zealand is in the Netherlands, but Henry Glennon spelled that with 2 E's. So but I suppose that's the closest I've ever had to an answer, so I'll take it.
Fair enough.
So Zealand. Oh, mercy. See this? Oh, you're probably ahead.
I don't know to what you're referring now.
Justin decompressing himself is
Yeah,
pretty
but that's
horrible.
kind of where I am. I'm at Larry Fishburne's about to jump and save him, so I'm guessing I'm a bit ahead of you. But it is pretty harsh. It's all this stuff. Yeah, all the veins and stuff.
They do, because they do a similar thing in Sunshine. Is it Chris Evans? And they have to like wrap him in the
Chris
kind
Evans. There's three of them, isn't there? There's Chris Evans, the other guy,
and the other guy.
and the other guy. Yeah, the navigator guy, and they have to leave Cliff Curtis.
So they have to like they wrap him in kind of like insulation, and then they tell him what he has to do in order to survive it and stuff, and he makes it through, which is a really terrifying thought. Like it's
yeah, he's the most. Oh, is it? I can't remember. Is it? It's not Cillian Murphy, is it, or is it? I can't remember whichever one it is. But they're the most important, so they get wrapped in insulation tape, and then the others all have to like hold on to them. Because I watched that film with there's a commentary with Brian Cox.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, and he said like he goes that not all of this is 100% accurate, but he said that is a fairly accurate representation of what would happen. He says like it's not because it's a vacuum. You don't like get smushed like if you go into it. He said the more of it is like you do have to keep your eyes closed and your mouth shut because all the moisture in there will boil or something.
Yeah, your spit and your tears will boil in a vacuum. Lovely. Don't we?
Yeah. My dick's on fire.
Oh, no,
How did I say that out loud?
it's supposed to be a vacuum.
But my tongue's turned off now. All I feel my eyes are fucking... My pubes is on fire. Should have manscaped, Brit. Not the time, Jermaine. Anyway.
Bowie.
Yeah. But what was I saying? Yeah, no, that scene's pretty horrific because the guy, whatever his name is, he ends up sort of floating off. Does he bounces off or something, and then he ends up sort of freezing as he goes, and then you just see this little thing as he goes past the sun shield, and he just goes like this is just like literally gets radiated.
Yeah, because doesn't the captain sacrifice himself as the sun is coming across the solar panel thing?
Yeah,
it's a similar thing, which is like.
It's
just gone. Yeah. I really like that. I think there aren't many narratives that are let's go to the sun. And I really like the idea because what it appears has happened to Mark Strong and what happens to Cliff Curtis is they're kind of hypnotized by the sheer magnificent, the majesty of it. So it somehow sort of melts their brains, and because he becomes addicted to tanning, doesn't he? Essentially,
yeah.
And it's kind of I really like that, the idea of the kind of it kind of hypnotizing you. That's a really cool idea, and I'm into it. It's a similar.
Because there's other stuff in there about space travel kind of madness, isn't there? They have to spend time in that kind of simulator that makes them feel like they're at the seaside or whatever, and then Cillian Murphy and Chris Evans always have fights and stuff. But,
I like that stuff. It's full of really good observed stuff, really nicely observed things like that, relating to kind of people's psychology and stuff, and you really feel the antagonism between those characters. Because Sunshine is just as guilty of this, but this film, Paul Anderson, every fucking Resident Evil film, he introduces a team of people that get picked off one by one. Alien vs Predator introduces a team of people that get picked off one by one. Event Horizon, and even like because his I don't mind his remake of Death Race, but it really misses the point of Death Race. Like the point, Death Race is this insanely. Death Race is like this really kind of goofy satire of kind of 70s society, right? And Death Race, the Paul Anderson one isn't it cool when cars smash into each other? Maybe one of them's got a gun.
What?
What? Well, it's got exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. And the sequels have one of the Goss brothers in, and after the Bros documentary, they're one of my favourite things that exist. So there you go. I like just the kind of weirdness of going to the sun and how, because if you say on paper it's a film about people going to the sun, you immediately go, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. But when they do it in Sunshine, and even the thing of meeting the other ship is so similar to going to the Event Horizon and stuff. But just how insanely dangerous that would be and what that means. So like when the captain gets wiped out, the bit you just talked about, the guy drifts off, and how insanely dangerous and difficult, and because they got to dump like most of the world's minerals into the sun, right, to start it back up again.
Yeah, it's a bomb, isn't it? But it takes.
They have to
You're right.
use all the resources of whatever form and stuff.
Yeah.
Quite like to watch that again. That'd be a good watch party. A watch party. But yeah, I don't know. I Paul Anderson. This is his best thing. He was one of those British directors that came through with Shopping, and then did that, and that was when everyone was high on Train Spotting fumes or whatever, and I just don't think. Well, he has in actual fact had a vastly successful career. It's just people like me don't like him, because those Resident Evil movies go in. They come in on time and under budget, and they make a shitload of money. Like they pack out cinemas on Friday nights. Like as much as you hate them, and I make no bones about that. Like the fact is, they're vastly successful, and they're enjoyed mostly by people that don't give a shit about the games.
Yeah.
So they've done what they needed to do, really.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, that he's effective. I think that's why he gets the gig a lot of the time. He is effective at coming in under budget or on budget and delivering films that make money. I mean, you can't argue with that really. But well, you can, I suppose. But I suppose the thing is, if he was messing with something you didn't care about so much, it wouldn't be such a big deal, I guess. But
so I struggle. I don't care that much. But like for example, the Mortal Kombat film, that's pretty accurate to those games. But those games was very much a procession of people tearing each other's heads off, and that kind of just goes, oh well, that's basically Enter the Dragon then, isn't it? And it kind of is, and you just say fine, okay, good, whatever. It's bloody Mortal Kombat, fine, and I don't hate that. It's a perfectly fine film, in no hurry to watch it. But that's been adopted by that fan base to the degree that the guy who played Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat is now Shang Tsung in the games, and stuff like that. Like so that seem to be quite faithful to that game series, and the fans love it. Whereas the fucking Resident Evil movies, just as I've said many times, they bear no resemblance to the source material. So it's a bit like, well, why are we doing this? But who gives a shit what I think? Because they're making Constantin Film or whoever millions and millions of dollars. So why they're not going to change, are they?
Yeah.
There you go. We've got Ross. Shout out to Mr. Casey. I just watched Wicked Witches earlier today. Thought it was very entertaining, especially scenes of gratuitous drug use.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks, man. I mean, that talk about low budget, made for tuppence. That was, but an example of it's one I use, with people who talk to me who are filmmakers and stuff. It's an example I point to of like, this is what some blokes made who just took upon the mantra of what can we do now with the resources we have, rather than sitting around waiting, because that's often what people do. They get caught in that well of like, oh well, I can't do this yet because I don't have that, or I can't do this because I don't have budget, or I can't do this because I don't have a famous, but and it's like, just get off the blocks, just look around, because you're probably better resourced than you think you are. Yeah.
Well, look, that's the backbone of horror. You got to be a bunch of people just out in the fucking woods doing it because they can. Otherwise, it never happened.
I'm watching all the hell stuff now. It's just lovely.
Oh hell! Ah hell!
See, it lasts literally like 3 seconds, and that's what everyone bangs on about.
It's so effective. I think that's it. It speaks a lot to how well it's done and how kind of sparingly it's deployed. Because I think if you did have your half hour of back-to-back unedited hell footage, it'd be a lot less impactful, wouldn't it?
I like Lawrence Fishburne. Just goes like, "We're leaving." As soon as he turns it off, we're leaving.
Yeah, see that. I will say that about Fishburne in this. He's a good captain. Like,
oh yeah,
got because he does his job and investigates, and then he's just like, nope. No.
Yeah. Well, the way he goes as well as like, salvage what's left of the crew. Like, or no, say whatever it is, find the crew, salvage what's left of the ship. Crew's dead. Your ship killed them. It's like, I'm out. I'm done.
All right, bye. Yeah, it's good. There's no fucking Scooby-Doo shit with him. He's just like, right, fine, good, over, great.
I think as well, like I suppose this is a film because there's Solaris as well, and there's all that kind of stuff, and it's like this. avoids the kind of Kubrickian desire to disappear up its own arsehole. You know, even despite, you know, all right, Notre Dame and all that business, but like, you know what I mean? It's not pretentious in the way that a lot of sci-fi of this sort of ilk can be. You know, it's not long and ponderous and irritating.
Yeah, it never feels lofty. It's never kind of, like you say, it doesn't disappear up its own arse. It's very
unlike the poor people in hell who do disappear up their own arse. Sorry,
they get turned into pineapples and put up their own arses. I guess.
I guess.
Yeah. No, it's like because you know, one of the great things about like a good John Carpenter movie is it's kind of unpretentious and has a good story to tell. And you look at this, and there's, you know, I think it shows a lot of promise, and it could have been like, oh, well, Anderson's next film could have been such and such and such, but it just wasn't.
Yeah.
You know, because have you seen Soldier with Kurt Russell?
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's got Kurt Russell. It's supposedly a sidequel to Blade Runner, which is all bollocks. But it's sort of like on paper, it's like, oh, that guy's doing a Sean Pertwee and Kurt Russell stuff, but it's just a dismal film. And it's a shame because on paper it's kind of like, oh, cool, but no, not cool.
It's funny, like Kathy Quinlan being in this, she was obviously like, this is the kind of film where I guess we were of an age where it's harder to contextualize because we weren't sort of cinematically aware. It's just films turned out and we liked them or we didn't. You know, it wasn't like we knew where people were in their career. But she'd obviously had some pretty lofty stuff in the 90s, like, you know, Apollo 13 and what's the other one? I watched it the other day. Can't remember. But she was doing some pretty highbrow, you know, Oscar-y stuff. And then sort of to do this is kind of I commend her for it. You know, it's quite a strange, well, not strange choice. It's just quite a sort of, wow, okay, you want to do more power to her. And she's brilliant in this. The only thing I don't like is what they do with the character here, because it just turns into an idiot. These are all space people. These people can fly through space. They can't be that stupid to think that her son is just there for some apparent reason.
This script does kind of do the dirty on her, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just sort of, she just falls into the trap, and then I guess they need someone to just fall into the traps, and it's like, I guess she gets she's on the fucking block for it, you know.
And it's that thing of like motherhood just makes you an idiot.
Makes you a dipshit.
You'll do anything for them. It's like, nah.
Well done, idiot.
Yeah. Just like the Event Horizon, whatever that is, just comes out and goes, ah. And then walks up.
It turns out he's got a face on the front like Jimmo in the Jet Set. It's like, ah.
It's a curious thing there because obviously you see her son's reaction to her death, right? That he kind of smiles and walks away. And it's like, that's the only time you ever see one of the visions, like, that's not obviously through the eyes of the character that you're in the room with, you know? Because obviously she's fallen down and died, effectively. So she can't, I don't know if that's supposed to be her last vision looking up and sort of seeing the sun walk off, but...
Yeah, because otherwise, it's just the Event Horizon being smug. It's
yeah.
I think it's probably happened 10 hours ago for you, I don't know, but the bit when it's really obvious, it's not the most subtle bit of storytelling in the world, but when he's speaking to the captain, like, I am home, and he disappears into the darkness.
You can still see him.
You can still see him, however... And particularly, I think that's one of these things that is, you know, watching it in HD, it's kind of like, oh no.
Yeah.
But it's not very subtle because he's half in black. There's a little bit of kind of hair light and he's half in black, so it shows sinister intentions. And him just disappearing into the black like that is really cool. It's a really nice thing.
Yeah, no, I like
it. It's not terribly subtle, but...
Once again, it you know, when characters step into light or out of it, it shows a clear transition, doesn't it? I mean, that shows he's embracing the darkness and the madness, and he is choosing to step backwards, to regress. Effectively, he is literally, you know, choosing that. You know, I talked about it before in other things where it's like when characters cross thresholds into light, it's usually an awakening or awareness. But yeah, this is the bit I can't watch. It's mainly because of the sound, but it's like cutting your wrists. I can't.
That's grim. Yeah, well, this is it. Much like the breaky arm in The Fly the other day. At least you don't have to listen to it. That's the best.
Yeah.
For you.
Yeah.
This stuff, the really spectacular lighting here because it's loads of practicals kicking off.
I don't know where you are.
Throughout. Oh, but no, this kind of it's the her chasing her son bit. But
oh
it's
bloody hell! Right, I'm gonna pause it at when he starts ripping his eyes out. Because then I can wait and we'll at least be in the same ballpark. Because I've just been talking about stuff that...
Well, it doesn't matter. I think it's context. It's fine. I mean, other people are probably in the same... What's your time code then?
106.28.
Yeah, that's where I am.
I know, but you're not.
I am.
I don't know why.
I am.
Okay. Well, I know, but it's like for some reason you've obviously got more frames than I do, or something.
I
Because it's
think
like,
the thing is now I think now TV is the issue.
yeah. Well, Weir is on his knees ripping his eyes out, and I've paused it. So just let me know when you get to that.
Okay, I'm worried that I've missed that now. So I have the same.
No. Have you seen his wife kill herself?
No,
Then you haven't.
no. I just saw that mummy explode. She
That
does
you're
sort of
miles behind.
loads of blood pisses out when she hits the floor, like she's exploded. Yeah, I am quite. But it must be a frame rate thing. But the fact from the same time code doesn't really stack up. Yes, we can't watch things on different streaming services. That's the problem.
Yeah. Oh well. Never mind.
Oh well. Don't worry, everyone's watching with me.
But you see my point about the kid just going,
Dickhead.
I'm going to go play with spoons and knives or something.
And fireworks.
I don't know what I'm going to do here now for eternity.
In space, how? Yeah, okay, so Weir's just, hanging out. He sees that she's fallen and exploded into a bag of blood, I guess, which is what happened. Oh no, I'm a bag of blood now.
She's, yeah. Well, I'm looking at. It's not very nice when you pause this film.
It's not really the one, is it? No.
But yeah, she's lying there with her legs are mashed. It's pretty bad. Oh, tell.
Oh, tell.
Oh, you broke her legs. I came to stand. Catherine Quinlan fell down a well. Oh. That was the Doobie Brothers.
There was an old
What a
Quinlan
fool.
who followed a fly. They say she will die. Okay, now he's watching his dead wife put some lipstick on.
Okay.
Now she's stirring her bath. God, Claire, no. See, he talks to her. This is what I hate about illusions in films. And she's cutting her wrists. Little bit of boob.
Too late.
Too late. Now she's dead. More boob. Bloody muff. Bloody muff. Right, here we go.
Ready?
So it's him tearing his eyes out, you want, yeah?
Yeah.
And steady. They're just talking. They're talking. He's gently nestling against their titties. Titties. Well, she doesn't have any eyes. They had to hire an actress with entirely green eyes so they could comp them out afterwards. Did you know that? Okay, there goes his eyes. There goes his eyes.
All right, we're playing.
Where we're going, Emerald... you won't need eyes.
But you will need a synced copy.
It's a synced copy of Event Horizon.
Yeah.
I think this is the issue. I think this has been the perennial problem with doing commentaries of things because different frame rates and stuff.
It's really weird because you're just like, how can we be at the same timestamp? And
That's
yet,
very odd because that shouldn't be the case.
Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense. And
it doesn't at all.
Unless this is like that film Frequency, and you're slightly in the future talking to me in the past.
I guess I am. That is true, though, isn't it? Technically, if you they said like if you synchronize watches and then send someone up in a plane, and if they flew around the world and back to where you are, your watches would be out of sync because it's like time different. It's weird. But I'm not saying it's not the Coriolis effect here. I think it's just fucked up streaming.
No, it's the Coriolis effect. It's definitely the Coriolis effect. That's like way more exciting than the actual fact of the situation.
I love that. That's a really nice shot when he's like, and that is where the script and everything does work really well because he's like, I don't know, I saw Weir, he was getting off the ship. Whoa, have a banana. And Lawrence Fishburne's like, what would he be doing on the ship? And you just get that like rack focus to the little explosive thing like sparking in the background. And
yeah,
like,
very nice. It's just a real sense of rhythm, isn't there?
Yeah, and it's good visual storytelling. It's like, oh shit, we know what that is. That's when exposition starts to pay off. I mean, it's sort of like, don't get me wrong, as devices go, it's a lazy one in that you set it all up. It's like a Father Ted episode. It's all set up at the start and then paid off at the end. But it is good. Like it's establishing a rule that they can then use in the story later on, which is kind of cool. I think that's.
Yeah, see, I love that shot when he's running down the connecting thing, because that's when there are moments. There's not enough. It should be more kind of like cathedral-ish, where it's quite claustrophobic in a lot of places, which is great. But like it's really opened out. It feels kind of.
Yeah.
It feels kind of churchish in those connecting sections.
Look, it says, where does it say? It says on there somewhere, it says like stop. I think it says on the actual thing, like there's a button for like off or or stop, and it's like press that.
You can't read, you monster.
He flies through space. Yeah. No, I do. This film doesn't get enough praise, I think, for its sort of camera work. I know, obviously, Adrian Biddle's fantastic, but I mean, it's things like just that shot of like when Lawrence Fishburne was running up to the airlock, and it was like this really quick jib down, like, and to look at it, it's really, really well shot. It's because the corridor was extended with mirrors, wasn't it? I think they just made it look longer, and then turned the camera around and they ran the other way, kind of thing. I think it was sort of I think that's how they extended it, which is quite clever. But it is the funny again. It's like you look at it's sort of shown to be sort of infinitely long, right? And then when they show the explosives, they're really close together. So it's like that would take forever to arm all of those. It's like, isn't this supposed to be happening in an emergency, like in a hurry?
It's like 4 miles long.
And some poor bastard's got to walk all the way down that corridor to the wrong end to get the detonator and then go back again. I don't think so. Dr. Weir's a shit designer.
And a prick. See, this is Coop saving himself.
Yeah.
Like, it's well fucking Saturday morning cartoon of him just talking to himself. It's like, first I'm going to press this, then I'm going to press this, and then I'm going to fly away, and that's Coop's plan. Like, he just stands there and fucking says it. It's got Coop. I do feel like, because Coop survives, right? And it's a bit like, yeah. I feel like I don't know any. He's one of the his whole. He's got kind of like vaguely stereotypical sort of kind of cheesy lines and stuff, and that's kind of it. He doesn't really have anything to do other than survive, really. And I don't know. I've never felt like him being alive at the end. It's like him and Jolie Richardson, isn't it? Really, and both of them aren't terribly well drawn characters. I don't really know why we should care that either of those guys survive. Maybe it's just
a bit weird, yeah, because they have this sort of implied sexual tension, but that's about it. I think this was one of the harder shots to do. You know, he's going over the table now, and that tablet on the floor with Fishburne's face on it, because it was just a green tablet that they had to comp his thing onto, and I guess that was fine. See, all this stuff is like, for some reason, Weir now has superhuman strength and stuff like that.
Strength.
Yeah, hells yeah.
Because he doesn't need his eye muscles anymore. It makes the rest. It uses that power on his arm muscles and makes him stronger. That was his plan. Was if he pulled his tongue out, it'd be even stronger because that's a muscle too.
Yeah,
and that's just science. I
love you rip your dick off.
Your dick muscle. To pull your heart out, that's the strongest. That's the strongest of all. It's that guy. I'm just going back to this is not nice, unsurprisingly. There was that guy who kept he kept coming to a comment on one of our Terminator videos because he didn't like our interpretation of time travel, and he kept explaining time travel to us and saying it's just basic physics. It's like, it's not. It's made up time travel from a film about robots. It's not. But it's not. It's a lot of things, but it's not basic physics. I can tell you that now.
If it were, wouldn't we have invented time travel?
I don't remember in my physics GCSE learning about the rules of time travel. So remember, everybody, if you're sending a Terminator back to kill someone else's grandson, then that's not basic physics, you mad cunt.
Boring. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, boring. What do you know about today? Oh, time travel.
Sent the hamster back a few days. To kill the rabbit's uncle or whatever.
And then a sentient ball of gas from the fifth dimension come to speak to us about humanity's future and how we cast off the shackles of flesh.
Sorry. I trumped. Is it Alan Partridge which is walking along with like, oh, sorry, I trumped.
That one where he's out and about is so when he reads the poem to that person. And he's in the guy's carriage as well.
Yeah. It's like an autumn leaves. All right, yeah. Thanks.
Are you divorced? Yeah, okay.
It's because he goes, yeah, I know who you are. He goes, oh, no, thanks very much.
Thanks very much. Floyd says, didn't we take the piss out of him of his basic physics bollocks? Very probably, Floyd, yeah. I was just thinking about it earlier, and I was just like, yeah, you know what, that was a really
At work, that's very unprofessional.
right. I know.
Yeah, this chair has a weird it's like a lot of this design doesn't really make what are those two massive arms at the back of the captain's chair for?
For Mr. Tickle.
Are they, maybe they're flight controls or something? I don't know, but they're very weird.
Yeah, it's just one of these. It is very much a kind of it looks cool thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's very much a kind of look at my eyes. I don't have any. I stitched them shut. I'm Sam Neill.
We won't need eyes to see it. When you look at that prosthetic, though, it's insane. I think it involves a wig as well.
Oh, because it goes right up his head.
Yeah. I mean, again, like you say, HD is not kind to stuff like this, and it's like you can kind of see the prosthetic. Just because prosthetic, I think as well, if you've ever had one applied, you'll know that it's like how it feels and how it moves and how they sit on skin and don't really move. And if they're done well, which that is done well, it's like, but it's just sort of, I think it's probably shown. I mean, it looks fine, you know, it looks fine, but I can kind of see where it's not quite right. But I suppose one could argue that that's kind of dead flesh or something.
Could you read Dan Lyle's comment, please, from the chat? It needs your voice.
I think that commenter might have been you from the future. It's basic physics.
Amazing. Wonder what happened to that guy. He's back in the future. Worm says, when did you first discover Alan Partridge? I first saw Alan Partridge on the Day Today when he was the sports reporter. So I missed On the Hour on the radio, and I didn't listen to the Alan Partridge radio show because I was a young'un. I just watched it all on telly.
I didn't get to it till much later. I used to, in my, contrarian days, I used to be like, don't get it, shut up, it's boring. Sorry. I'm going to watch Father Ted again for the millionth time, but...
you really did have a very trenchant contrarian face.
I did, and that was definitely part of it. I think because there were certain people at school who really loved it, and I was like, I hate them, so I don't want to be...
Right, okay.
I don't hate them, but, I was like...
It's something when pricks like it will put you off, won't it? That's,
Yeah. But I'm not saying they were pricks, they're probably all right.
No, they're pricks.
Yeah, anyway. And so, so I didn't like it. And then my friend Jimmy had it, and I lived with him, and he insisted on putting it on, so I didn't have much of a choice. And then I kind of was forced to watch it, and was like, "This is brilliant." And but that was I think that was season 2 of is it I Am Alan Partridge or the?
Oh wow, you came on board late. Fuck.
Oh yeah, properly late. And then I kind of
you got
rediscovered.
to go back, didn't you, and watch it all?
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah, I didn't watch the Day Today or whatever. I didn't watch all that stuff.
The Day Today. Did you ever watch Brass Eye?
Yeah, some of it, yeah.
Oh man, you should watch the Day Today as well. And yeah, because the joke is Alan Partridge doesn't know anything about football, and he's the sports reporter. It's kind of brilliant. But it's all very underdeveloped, at that point.
Yeah.
So. Anyway, Event Horizon.
This bit we're trying to get back out of the thing's quite well done. Although you can kind of see these on wires, but it's still pretty cool.
Again,
I think.
HD. See, that's the kind of great thing. That's the great thing they do with CGI now. Like when they do puppets and stuff, they can take the wires out with CGI seamlessly and things like that. It's really great. I think the ultimate thing is these things to work in tandem rather than hating one or the other, which is just a bit dumb.
Yeah. The other thing with wire work now, though, is that it's so much more because everything's computer controlled and that you can put people on a lot, like in harnesses and stuff that are much more. It's not like just being attached at the waist. You can be attached in all multiple points on your body, so you're not. Shows you like you're levitating a lot more than like if you watch the behind the scenes stuff from like Man of Steel or whatever. He's got wires on his ankles, on his torso, on his waist, on his upper body, and it's like so that he can literally float rather than hang, because it's like there's that tension in the body when you're just literally pivoting from the midsection and you've got to brace your whole body just to stay flat. It's like it doesn't look as
I suppose you increase the points of contact and you can then I made a motion control rig this week by really well actually you can buy these off the shelf if you've got tons of money, but I don't these days, but I've got a motorized slider and I've also got a gimbal, and you can pre-program kind of routines into the gimbal. So if you put the motorized slider to move left and right in a specific time frame, and then you program the gimbal to say look here, and then finish looking there in the same time frame, motion control.
Nice.
There you go. So you can do sort of parallax time lapses and things like that. So I'd like to try and get another, anybody who's on my Instagram, but it's in my time lapse of the Milky Way that I got in summer. I'll get a motion control version so it'd pan down across.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to try and go stargazing again in winter, which is going to be real different because the night isn't only the night's only like 6 hours long in July, whereas and it's quite warm, but it's not that warm. Whereas in December, it's real fucking cold and it lasts for like 13 hours.
I mean, do you have to sit out there all night?
No, you don't have to be out there all night, but I would therefore take advantage of the longer darkness. You don't have to stay out all night. You're supposed to. The optimum time is 3 hours after sunset and 1 hour before sunrise.
Okay.
There you go.
According to that, there are 8 explosives down that corridor. Looks like a lot more than 8.
Yeah, it's a long ass corridor. And like you say, a really inefficient and stupid system.
This just looks like someone pulling a red sheet over that. Assuming we're in the same place.
Yeah. It is cool though. They're kind of, the blood red thing, but yeah, it's very like.
Yeah, the tank filling with blood and stuff, that was supposed to be sort of weird being reconstituted, and then like a hand. I think that rack in shot was supposed to finish with a hand against the screen.
Right.
Which would have been really cool.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I dig that. I know we talked earlier about it not needing more, but that is a cool thing.
Yeah.
Red sheet. I'm just thinking, can I steal that effect and just go, nah.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I get what they're going for, but it's like when you look at it, it just looks like moving blood. Like,
someone said earlier, and I'm sorry I didn't acknowledge at the time, but someone said, I think maybe someone asked us about it before, but there's supposed to be an Event Horizon Amazon series.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Is that just fallen by the wayside? I suppose it might be a victim of COVID. I don't know.
Well, I don't think it needs to be a fucking series. Like, unless you've got... I'm not saying they don't have a good idea, because that's the way it works now, isn't it? You take movies and make these compelling prestige dramas, but, like, remake it as a movie. That's fine. I'd have no problem.
I just don't think... I don't think it needs to be remade. I really don't. I think it's one of those, like... I just leave it alone, frankly. I think if you're going to make anything, you could make a sequel. You could make a sequel. And if any, we've
Event
lamented...
Horizons.
Yeah. Events Horizons.
Events Horizons.
The eventual Horizons. I think we sort of complain a lot about them making sequels years later that they call the same thing, and you know what I mean, and they're sort of weak ass sequels and they're not proper. Sure. Like
Halloween
the thing.
And the thing. And...
Yeah. So I think this would actually work. I think you could actually do that. I think there is an argument to be made for doing that.
I'm slightly worried that Lawrence Fishburne's been living in hell, like in Predators.
Yeah. Turns out it's great. There's a Burger King.
Well, I like the idea of him coming out in a devil mask with horns on it, and he's like, "Don't worry, it's only me, Lawrence Fishburne." I've been living in hell.
I mean, on the one sense, like I would love for him to return in it, but then at the same time, it's like what that slightly neuters the whole thing and diminishes his sacrifice.
Sure. I mean, I'm just not precious, because you could do the sequel thing. I'm just not precious enough about it to. I'm not bothered about if someone remade it. But it's a fucking Sci-Fi Channel. We're doing a Day of the Dead TV show, right? So we've had 2 remakes of that film as a TV show, and I read the synopsis, and it's like 6 strangers are thrown together and forced to survive a zombie apocalypse. It's like, well, so not Day of the Dead then. That might as well read a bunch of orthodontists are forced to have a breakdance competition to save the discotheque. It's like, that doesn't fucking... Well, no, then. Like, I guarantee you it is set in a bunker, and that's it.
Yeah.
And it's another thing that doesn't need to be a fucking series. I won't call it a prestige series. It's going to be a fucking sci-fi. But they're just like...
It's like Bates Motel and all that stuff. It's like, don't need it. Don't need it. Like, what are you saying with this? Like, there's nothing to be said. the problem I have with this, I suppose Paramount would look at this and go like, well, we're probably making all the money on this that we're going to make. They
Right.
can't release the director's cut. And the thing is, it's not old enough that the effects are terrible. I mean, they could be better, obviously, but then it's like, well, what are you going to throw at it?
I think it's in that kind of halfway house where it's kind of a moderate success, and they've got nothing to gain from going back to it. There's not the brand recognition, so it didn't do brilliantly, didn't do terribly badly. It isn't badly made, but it isn't brilliantly made either. So there's no kind of reason to, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I just as well, like, it's very hard to gauge, because if you look at all the numbers for this film, it's like, I'm sure it's done well on home release, but it's like, when you look at it, it's kind of like something like this wouldn't warrant a massive budget remake, I don't think. And it's so much of it's to do with its style as well. And if you remade it, you'd have to just remake all the sets and stuff, because otherwise, what's the point?
Well, yeah, if this was all done in pokey little sets, because one of the things about this is the staging. It's incredible, like those huge sets and that huge model you were talking about and stuff. I just want to award Marco. There were people naming Event Horizon sequels in the chats, and by my estimations, Marco Marin won with 2 Event, 2 Horizon. Which I'm a bit... Though Nick Matteo has run with that and gone for Event Horizon Tokyo Drift. Oh, God. Amazing. So, like, Weir's it's all happened, just already happened now, but Weir's, like, reconstituted form is kind of... It's kind of Hellraiser-ish, isn't it? But Hellraiser stuff really is way fetishy. Like, it's Hellraiser-ish, but it's not like a rip-off, I wouldn't say. But
no, he's got carvings in his body. He's got runes sort of carved into his flesh, but that's not really what Hellraiser's pretty. It's worse than that. It's all like kind of ripped off bits and stuff with wires. And well, look at Gary Smart's like odd amount of rabbit-like Dr. Chenard heads that keep popping up on Facebook.
Dude, he's on it with those fucking things, man.
I'm like, why have you? Because he did the first one, I was like, wow, that's amazing, that's awesome.
It's a resin cast.
Yeah.
So once you make one, you cast others, and then
no, I get that, but it's so did we need 4?
I assume he's selling them. He contacted me about the short, by the way, about doing the head.
Oh, cool.
Spoilers. Yeah, no, I don't know. I assume he's selling them. He did one of Gus from Breaking Bad as well, with his face blown off.
Very good at it. Very good at it. Hellraiser is a different thing, really, but I get why it's compared.
I'm gonna in the Venture Brothers, there was a scene where some characters summoned a Cenobite called Toaster Face, and his head was a toaster. And he goes, what does he say? He goes, taste my pleasure toast. And then like this bit of toast made of flesh and covered in veins kind of goes like blah, blah, out of his head. My pleasure toast. Which I just thought was great. Just loved it, especially because it's been cancelled and I'm sad. See this, well, we're at the end of the movie, and it does a... Oh, yeah, this sounds on a Prodigy track, doesn't it? It's funky shit.
Yeah, funky shit, yeah.
I fucking love that track. When this scene started, the torch beams and stuff it all feels so... There's so many bits that just feel like lifts from Aliens.
Oh, totally,
The lasers and the torch beams and shit, it's just...
And it literally goes, the end.
It should say Finn.
Yeah. It's like as if we didn't know that. The end is weak sauce, man. It's weak. It's like it's kind of a cop out, really. The only thing I'll say is, like, would you climb in one of those tanks in the freaking Event Horizon? Like, would you feel safe enough to be like, yeah, just climb in? Like, given that all that had to happen was you walked around it and it tried to kill you, so I wouldn't climb in that.
And also, for some reason, rescue teams are not allowed translucent helmets in case someone has a plot twist dream. There's
like,
no
well,
reason for it at all.
Why did they have translucent helmets? Because they were a rescue crew, weren't they? Like,
And it's got
right.
the word rescue written on it as well. That end by Paul Anderson, age 32 and a half. Oh, he's probably a lot younger than that.
Annoyingly, he was probably like 28 or some bollock.
Yeah, you fucking know it.
Which is freaking irritating because we're not.
No,
yeah.
we're not.
Construction manager Harry Metcalf, what, like the Evo magazine tycoon.
I've no idea.
Harry Metcalf's the guy who started.
References is that like
Evo magazine's a car magazine.
I know it is, and I've never heard of it before. Because you're saying it, I know it's a car magazine. See, this is again the things that exist outside our Venn diagram.
Yeah. I don't subscribe. It's all
Focus puller Adam Biddle, nepotism.
yeah, big time. Yeah. Oh, I didn't look. It's the location manager been and gone. I didn't check.
I'm not sure.
Possibly.
Duncan's best mate.
I can go back because I should name check him because otherwise I'll get in trouble.
You don't need to be in sync in the credits. You skip around. You do what you want.
I should do.
You could go on IMDb.
That's true. I could do that.
Oh my god, that's the funky shit. Hello, I'm a prodigy.
Twisted Prodigy. Or however it goes.
Yeah, that's the one, yeah. That's how it goes. Oh, well, there you go. Events Horizon. 2 Event 2 Horizon. There you go. We done it. Well, let's just chill out.
All right.
This is me chilling out.
You got any beer?
No. I wish I did. I could order some on Uber Eats. Bring it to me from Asda.
I'm sorry. I'm just like fix this thing trying to see location manager. It'll come.
It'll come. That's how you're going to fill the last hour of the stream.
Yeah. I can't find it. Going back and forth. Just search for it. No, I want to find it organically through the credits.
Stop getting location manager wrong. Flaps. I forgot to cancel Audible. Shit. I only did it for my free Alan Partridge. It's fine. I'm going to listen to Adam Buxton's book next then. Fine. Is anybody watching Taskmaster after this? Yes, I am. Because missing Taskmaster has returned. It's on Channel 4 now. Have you ever watched Taskmaster?
No. You told me about it.
I have. It's so good, man. It's moved to Channel 4. And it's 9:00 Thursday nights, so we will never be able to watch it live. And that fucking turncoat Ivan is pissed off to watch it with his brother, hanging me out to dry, not waiting to watch it with me. No, to watch it with his fucking flesh and blood, the prick. He does sometimes tune into this, and I wonder if he's coming. Actually, no, he won't have done, because Taskmaster started at 9 o'clock.
Fucking slagger.
I'll have to check it out later. I've never watched Taskmaster on my own. That's perverse. I hate it. I'm gonna have to do it though because Taskmaster.
Because Taskmaster. I don't know. What is it? Is it just do people do silly things, right?
Yeah, it's so what they do. Each series, I think it's like 10 episodes. Every series they have 5 comedians, and so it's a competition, and they'll have 5 comedians, and they do different tasks throughout the episode, and then they do a big task together at the end. And they're always sort of like, it's so hard to surmise because it'll be sort of like make the best short film only using mashed potato, stuff like that. And it's sort of like, or really stupid things, sort of like you have to carry this medicine ball, but you're not allowed to use your hands and shit like that. And it's just a lot of the fun is finding out how mental lots of celebrities are, and just how some of them are just really weird. And normally one member of the cast gets singled out as being kind of useless and just gets endlessly rinsed for being useless. And Greg Davis is just mean to them all when he has to judge all the tasks. It's really funny. It's a really great format, but it's irritatingly difficult to describe. Okay. It's difficult to subscribe convincingly, because for what I've just done, you're just looking at me like, all right. you got to watch it, But then it's sort of like classic TV shit. It's just kind of like oh, well, all you have to do is watch 1,000,000 episodes. Though because it's a game show, there's no, you don't have to. Like, you could jump on wherever. I imagine bringing it to Channel 4, because it was on day for like 9 series, so they do like 2 series a year. I imagine bringing it to Channel 4 is going to bring it to like a whole different audience, so I imagine people will be talking about it more. I don't know.
Fair enough.
Richard, did I imagine you have a bizarre Christmas tradition involving mini Kievs and pizza? No, you did not. Every Christmas I have a mini Kiev and Stilton pizza. I usually have it for when I watch Die Hard, and then me and Ivor drink Bucky together. That's my Christmas tradition.
Fair enough.
You buy a cheese pizza, you part cook the mini Kievs, you cut them in half so it looks like the bottom of a Sabutio man. You put that face down on the pizza, then you cover that in blue cheese and you cook it, and then you got a mini Kiev pizza. And it's probably about 9,000 calories, and it's probably why I'm going to die young. Sorry, I interrupted. Carry on.
No, I was going to say that's quite, that's a whole pizza and half a Kiev with blue cheese.
Oh no, mini Kievs.
Right.
Mini Kievs are like golf ball sized.
But
the inside isn't garlic butter; it's a kind of like garlic cream. I mean, probably a bag of mini Kievs on a pizza is probably more than a Kiev. Yes.
Oh, I see.
It's delicious. It's delicious and delightful. It's a wonderful treat. Though thinking of it right now makes me feel a bit sick. But
You're still full of chicken and chips.
Yeah, I am still full of chicken. Oh, fucking hell, I got to go for a run tomorrow. I got to eat salad tomorrow. Fucking hell.
Probably got to go for a shit as well.
A big shite. A big shite. And I've got private stream tomorrow for $5 Patreon and up. So join me, and then Duncan's going to do a Q&A stream.
I'm going to do a Q&A stream. I'm going to try and do it for some point next week. So watch out for that. I'm going to I will post on Patreon as soon as I can. I did sort of have a think about what I could do as kind of exclusive content. But I thought what I might do is rank my, because everyone loves a freaking ranking, don't they? I might do my bottom 5 and top 5 James Bond films. We could do that as a jumping off point, but that would be exclusively over on Patreon.
Oh, that's great. Are you going to use your newfound editing skills?
No.
Duncan's been learning Adobe Premiere this summer, and every time I speak to him, he's really proud of it. And then when I go, "You're going to do that?" You're just like, "No, mate."
No, I'm just going to talk about it on camera, but thanks for making that rod for my back.
Yeah. No, dude, I would do that as a vlog. That's what I would do.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I wouldn't. I'd do loads of really high-end animation. I'd make it 3 hours long. No, I wouldn't at all. No, you do it as a vlog. Yeah.
I would do it.
Do you know what? Because you don't do Bond content, and you made it exclusive to Patreon. That's exciting.
I would do. I would do that, but it's just I've just been editing a thing for a client of mine this week, and like I was saying to Richard the other day, it's like I'll never piss about on camera again. Like I'm going to stick my my takes every time, because it's like the amount of cutting I've had to do, and not only that, but the sheer amount of like footage, like the amount of hard drive space that shit takes up, man. Like I've had to download so much stuff, and it's like, and then I'm trying to paste over cracks with stock footage.
Oh, dude, you someone will send you, particularly at the moment in COVID, I've had people sending me their footage, which is fine and great, and I'll get like gigabytes and gigabytes and gigabytes of footage, and then you're actually using about a minute of it, because the other hour it's just like, what was that line? And sometimes they just left the camera on and they bugger off and have a cup of tea, just scrubbing through it, just like, oh, okay, fine. I've
got an external hard drive. I'm going to use that next time. I think I'm just going to put all my project files on that and then plug it in when I need to edit, and then just unplug it. Because otherwise, like literally, I've got a project file at the moment that's just massive. So,
I have a 20 terabyte cloud drive.
Wow.
So I have to have RAID storage for work, because I can't lose anybody's stuff, obviously. So yeah, I've got a 20 gig RAID array, and I'm gonna I'm gonna double back that up to a cloud site probably this week. I'm going with Backblaze, I think, so I can have off-site backup, because if the house caught fire, I mean, if that hard drive got destroyed, I'd be fucked. If I died in the fire as well, doesn't matter, who cares? It's not my problem anymore, is what I'm saying. But if I survived, it'd be like, oh no, I'm in trouble now.
Right. So better that you die than the hard drive dies and you don't.
Yeah. I'll throw myself on it like it's a grenade or something.
Fair enough. But Derek Harrington was the name of the location manager. Sorry, Derek Harrington.
Old Dell.
He did more location managing, I'd warrant, on Hallows Eve than on Event Horizon. Oh, fair
Yes,
place.
indeed. There's quite a lot of locations to manage in Hallows Eve.
Yes.
Have you done a
Shit.
ever in your life? Have
Mhm.
you done it shit?
Many.
Have you done a Patreon check? We got any PayPal check? Sorry. We got any PayPal?
I did. I was going to check it again. No. You tight bastard. No, I mean,
You
no.
tight bastard.
No.
I just
please.
want to make sure people get acknowledged, man.
Yeah,
That's all I want,
absolutely. Yeah,
man.
of course.
What are you saying, man?
Hey, man. I've seen
Hey,
some
man.
things, man.
I've seen some things,
stuff.
man. Trying to eliminate the shadow on my Starfleet uniform. I think I've done it. Yeah. Yeah, good. Oh God, I'm going to sleep tonight.
Yeah, I hope I am. Fuck me.
How's the way in?
She's good, man. She's good. I mean, I'm complaining about lack of sleep. It's partly my inability to sleep deeply that is the problem, because she's actually sleeping through now from about 11 till 7 at the moment, which is insane.
Oh wow, yeah, that's
For a 2-month-old. That is pretty nuts. So
grown up sleep, isn't it?
Yeah, we're very fortunate. So she's sleeping sort of 7 to 8 hours, which is crazy. So but it's just the chirping. She'll we call it squidging or scrunting. I call it.
Scrunting sounds rude.
I know. It's not a portmanteau of anything. It's more onomatopoeic, really. But she's like, she starts doing all that. I don't know why babies do that. I think it's possibly because they're just a big sack of compressed guts.
Big sack of compressed
Well, because it's kind of like
Look at my sack of compressed guts.
They kind of are though. They're all like there's so much going on in there, and it's a tiny.
It's a sentient bag of guts.
Well, it's a bit like Hervé Villechaize, who killed himself because he was in so much pain because he had like normal human-sized guts, but he was in a tiny person.
I I knew he'd killed himself. I didn't know why.
He was because he was in so much pain. He was just in eternal pain, and it's like Christ. I mean, I gather that's what being a baby's like. That's why we forget it. But she started sort of acknowledging us and smiling at us now, which is annoyingly cute.
Yeah,
just
about time, you ungrateful little bitch.
It's about fucking time, you little shy.
Finally, an acknowledgement. God,
Looking at me with those wee beady eyes. She does, honestly, like at night when we're like put her down and she's like like that. She starts doing that, and then you look over and it's like, please be asleep, please be. And it's like these little black orbs staring back at you. I tell you what,
that sounds fucking horrifying.
She's got like, yeah, I mean, it's like her doll's
Like a doll's eyes.
It's got lifeless eyes. She just stares through, like they're piercingly black as well. Like in the night.
Hold on. But how can you see her?
Well, because like we've got on in the room. There's like every fucking. We've got all the baby stuff, right? So you get the like light, the light lights. We have a night light, but we don't. I try and make a point of turning that off. But we've got like it's called a grow egg, and it tells you what the temperature in the room is. And then, but it doesn't just do that. It has like a big like egg thing on the top that turns goes from like red to green to whatever to tell you that the temperature is okay. As if we're stupid enough that we can't read what the fucking thing says on it. And then it's like, but it lights up the whole room. And it's like, can we not? Like, I can't. I'm really bad at that. I can't just sleep. Like, I'm not one of these people who can fall asleep with the TV on.
Oh, fuck
Never
no.
been like that.
Fuck no. Absolutely not.
I can't do it. So, I can't fall asleep in a room full of flashing lights. It's not. It's like, who are these people who can?
You know when you go to a nightclub and there's all those people just asleep because it's a perfect environment.
It's so soporific. Yeah, so I've never been good at that, and so I do struggle to sleep, even though she is asleep. But we were like taking it in shifts, but we've kind of stopped doing that now. So that's it. Baby watch. It's pretty dull. Although bless her, I think my wife's been dealing with a very aggy baby today. I heard her screaming earlier, and I'm like, oh, I think she's yeah. I often basically I work all day. I come downstairs, I get handed baby, and then I'm doing it now. Handed baby.
Baby, oh baby.
Here's baby.
Hello, baby. She's got a name, you cunt.
And along comes baby.
So have you spent this? Floyd Dillon says the video baby monitors are really freaky. You take a quick glance and they're staring straight into the camera.
Yeah, it's well, we've got a monitor. We haven't had to use it yet because they sleep with you. Basically, they're with you for the first 6 months. Like you can't leave them alone.
Oh, boom.
So
get in the shed, you little fuck.
Well, because it's like, and then because then they get to the point where they can start rolling, so you can't leave them then either. But you can put them in a cot, I guess, or whatever. But you need a monitor.
I guess.
Yeah. So we have a monitor, and it also comes with this like pad that you're supposed to put under them that will like. It's got an alarm because we turned it on once, and the whole freaking house started like going off because it was like your baby's dead. It's like, not here yet. So it's like I can't find a heartbeat. Your baby's dead. And it's just like no. I've just turned you on, you overzealous. And the thing is, it goes off, right? The monitor goes off, but also at the camera end it goes off. This big alarm, and it's like, well, that's going to wake it up.
Yeah,
maybe that's the idea.
It's dead. Yeah.
I guess. Wake up, you're dead.
What you've made me imagine is like this hysterical Bluetooth speaker. Your baby's dead. It's dead.
There's no sign of life. That's basically how it goes.
New
so
from JML, the baby corpse detector. It's dead. Your baby's dead.
We didn't know how to stop it from doing that because it was like it just did that as soon as you turned it on, and it's like, well, there isn't a baby here, but you wouldn't know that because you're not that clever. So I don't understand. Like
I suppose it probably works a little bit like a Fitbit. You know, it's skin on skin contact gives it biometric info or something.
It's not really. I think it's a pad you sort of put under the sheet on the bed, and I guess it can kind of monitor heat or something. Well, I don't know.
To shut it up.
Yeah, sit.
I put a goldfish on it.
It's weird. I don't know how that's going to go down. We obviously haven't started using that yet, but yeah.
Fuck, I love it's just your description of it was one of my favourite things. It's dead. Oh my god. Just really hysterical.
But it is as well. I don't want that being so sensitive that it just goes off if she's sort of fallen into a deep sleep. And it just wakes her up, wakes the whole house up for no reason. So I'll then end up turning it off, and then
Rob Myers says 404 baby not found. And Positron Glider says, would you like dead?
Killing baby now.
with Bluetooth anvil.
It's the humane way.
I still got the fucking I still got the bloody I should have got rid of these. The fucking old people catalogues.
Oh, nice.
They still sit here because of the dildo, man.
Is there a euthanizing death anvil in there?
It would be. You can get like a pink or a blue one. It's a bit old fashioned. A baby euthanizing anvil with Bluetooth mat that detects heartbeat.
You from JML. Euthanizing death anvil. Death anvil.
Euthanizing death anvil. with waterproof surface, please simply rewash and use again.
Washable cover comes complete with reset and go again.
Whilst mum and dad hear a countdown, baby hears a soothing lullaby from the inbuilt speaker.
Not completely effective first time. Easy reset and go again.
Do not use an anvil, ineffective for metalworking.
May cause death. People are like, isn't that just an anvil?
Yeah, but it's connected to the mat. It's Bluetooth. It's new technology. Someone at JML had like a warehouse full of anvils. So what are we going to do with these? No one wants anvils. What were we thinking? Don't worry, we've got some pink and blue spray paint.
We'll hold on to them for the inevitable remake of Anvil, the story of Anvil.
Anvil, the story of Anvil. Our research shows that There are no baby euthanizing products on the market. Have you looked into why? No, doesn't matter. We have the data. We need to get on this.
Cashback.
I've ideated and Blue Sky thought my way to. We use these. New from Pound Stretcher, GML.
Oh, that's it. It's all the inevitable rip-off ones. It's like I bought an off-brand baby anvil from Wish.com, and it turned out it was really dangerous because it wasn't wired properly. Oh, your baby anvil was dangerous.
Tommy Tippy Mothercare one is really expensive for no discernible reason. Tommy Tippy euthanizing dead.
He just suspended over the cot for the first 9 months of baby's life.
Cashback.
And if they misbehave, bet your baby keeping you up at night.
For families on the move, coming soon, the JML baby hammer.
Oh dear.
Oh, Carl Rivers gave £5. I needed this today. Thanks, gents. Thank you,
You're very
Carl.
welcome.
Annalise, best laugh I've had a week. Thanks, guys. If you're trying for a baby, please don't listen to anything we've just said.
I don't really want that.
Do you know what, mate? Clarifying that is way worse.
That's true.
Let it
I
happen.
don't really want that.
Really?
But if it happens, there's something out of Midsummer.
Turning up at Duncan's house this Christmas with like a wrapped up anvil shaped present. Rob Myers, does your wife watch this, Duncan? I don't think people in our immediate lives don't watch these. You know,
No.
I think it's just a bit weird for like your mates to watch it or whatever, isn't it?
She's not sat downstairs right now, like watching it on the TV.
Furtively loading the baby in the car and going to her mum's, you mean?
Yes. Yeah, see the screeching tyres outside.
Oh, apparently, Annalise says you've reaffirmed our desire to stay child-free. There you go. No squidging, no squidging for them.
Yes, you will remain scrunt-free for the rest of your life. I think it's one of those things, isn't it? I mean, we had that discussion, and I think that TGV said to me about he felt the same way, and believe me, there are days now where I'm like, why didn't we just stay child-free? But to be honest, like it's one of those things where it's like you kind of have to I look forward to having a nice relationship with my daughter, and I will look forward to being older with an older daughter. Right now, it's like having this thing that just shouts at you all the time and doesn't let up, and it's like the life lesson is your life isn't yours anymore and fuck off. Like say that's you know, if you don't like it, kiss my ass because I'm a baby and fuck you, basically. That's it. I mean,
very articulate. Kiss my ass, I'm a baby.
Kiss my ass, I'm a baby. Now give me some fucking milk.
Your daughter. Give me some fucking milk.
I don't give a fuck.
You pussy fucking active piece of shit.
Put the fucking mobile on again, you motherfucker. And this time would have kill you to put some fucking clothes on, you motherfucker, you.
That's the funny thing, though, about babies looking like kind of shriveled 50-year-old men. Those kind of proportions.
Yeah.
One of the funniest things I've ever seen is a fucking a baby dressed as a biker. You ever seen that? Like, so they've drawn like the handlebar moustache on it, and the best part is the baby's really happy. So it looks like this little drunk biker. It's great.
It's like the what's the hit the baby in Afterlife, but he's just like
He doesn't look like Hitler. You've dressed him like Hitler.
Right, but is that a real moustache? It's like, no, we drew it on. It's like, right. It's like, does he look like Hitler if you don't draw a moustache on him? It's just like, no, the point is you've made him look like Hitler. He doesn't look like Hitler. You combed his hair and drew a moustache. Oh dear.
I've enjoyed this. All this
Baby
talk
death
about
product.
Baby death products, yes. Oh God.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is a source of we do laugh. My wife and I got in bed last night, and we put her down, and then I just started doing impressions of my daughter, and we just howled, laughed, like quietly laughed to ourselves while she was squinting in the.
You stupid little bitch! Like that, I
I'm
assume.
a baby. Me, me, me.
Oh, I can't even feed myself. Oh, I've lost
Shit all over
blue
my
lamp.
back.
I've lost my blue lamp. I'm
Oh.
not gonna bother putting a new battery in it. I'll just go with my top lighting here. Oh no.
Oh.
I'm so sad. Oh no. Steve
It's a
Allen
sign.
asking if we've watched Chris Morris's Jam. I watched Chris Morris's Jam. Yes, have you?
Don't know what that is. Honestly, dude, I don't have time to watch it. I've realised this recently. It's like, so I get up.
Oh, this
in
was
the
from like this. I guess this is just something you passed you by. It's from about 20 years ago.
No, I mean, no.
No, it's very weird. It's this really aggressively grotesque and weird thing, which I kind of really like. But there was one part in it. There's loads of like weird monologues and stuff, and one of my favourite bits was there was a man who chose to end his own life, but he was unsure. So instead of jumping off the 40th floor once, he jumps off the first floor 40 times in case he changes his mind, like stuff like that. It was very, very, very dark. It was very, I think, because he did those kind of news satires, Brass Eye and stuff. People were expecting another one of those, and instead it was just this aggressively sort of dour, weird, sort of David Lynchy a little bit, very mean, cruel humour.
Okay.
I think what was it? Because the extras, the DVDs were like really cryptic, and I think under extras it says people who want these should be boiled. but then in actual fact there were extras, but they were just kind of hidden on the disc, and you had to find them.
Oh, okay.
It was
Fair enough.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I haven't. I was lamenting. Sorry, I don't want to bang on about my. I'm. I honestly don't have. I wanted to finish watching The Boys, but I haven't had. I honestly, I don't get like. I finish work, I make dinner. We sit down, we eat dinner. Baby shouts at us. We go to bed pretty much. So like, and whatever, we end up watching freaking Bake Off for the millionth time, because like when I sit down to watch TV, there's other people in the room, so I don't get a chance to kind of choose what I want to watch anymore.
Have you just got pardon me, just the last episode to watch of The Boys, or?
No, I think I got two. To go.
Okay, you'll get there. I'll warn you now that the last one is a little bit longer. It's not feature length, but it's over an hour.
Okay, that's right.
FYI, just for your planning. If if you need to plan around that.
I might get. I am babysitting, which is what I do anyway. But my wife's going out. I'm giving her a night off, some point next week, so I might get a chance to watch it if baby goes to sleep.
Fucking, you know what, man? Like, what's she going like out?
Yeah. I mean, it won't be like
not
on
like
piss
normal
or
times, but like
it's not on the make.
on the make. I went out on Monday.
On Monday.
On Monday, I went out because nothing happened in Monday. My work kicked off on Tuesday this week. No, sorry, Wednesday, not Tuesday.
I was going to say.
Yeah, fucking Jesus.
We kicked off on Tuesday, so I went out Monday.
No, God, oh Jesus, no, sorry. So yeah, Monday, Tuesday was kind of my weekend this week.
Yeah.
My friend Mark, who's a very good friend of mine from Cambridge, we both used to work in catering back in the day, worked in the schools and stuff. He moved to Manchester where they're on mega lockdown, and he was down, and I've Skyped him and stuff, but I haven't actually seen him in the flesh for about a year.
Wow.
I go and stay with him and stuff usually. He's a really close mate, him and his partner Fim. And he was kind of like, oh yeah, I'm in town. In a week's time, do you want to come out and we'll try and kind of be sensible and go to places and sensibly have a few drinks? I was kind of like, oh yeah, brilliant. I haven't been out in ages. That's really cool. And then in my head, I was because he's like, oh, we'll meet at 3:00, and I was like, yeah, cool, we'll meet at 3:00. A few quiet drinks with Mark in the afternoon. So anyway, about 10:30. When I was absolutely steaming, haven't been drinking since 3, and we'd been kicked out of the pub because all pubs closed at 10. I just realised I've never had a few quiet drinks with Mark. I don't know why. At what point he's one of those mates that like it's always a big one, and I haven't seen him for a year. So I just got really, really, really catastrophically drunk on Monday night, which I didn't mean to.
It's funny you said that. I've got that coming up tomorrow potentially. My friend Richard, another friend Richard. I'm cheating on you. He, I also haven't seen him for well over a year, probably more than that. And he wanted to meet me for a drink, and I know it's going to be a seriously hard one because he does not. He does like he owns his own business and he has lunch meetings, right? So you already know. But he had one on Tuesday. He just seems to have one every day. So it's basically like, it's going to be carnage. But I've got a lot to do for him. So
Carnage. Yeah, well, I went into mine with the best of intentions and then realised, well, no, this is Mark. Like, we always drink.
You always do those. Like you and I do that. It's like if it
It's
weren't
really
for the
bad for that.
yeah.
I think it's me, you, and Brad is the worst combination. Fuck it, actually, me, you, Brad, and Mark. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. It's also a great combination. It's just if you're set up for it, then it's fantastic. Because obviously,
it's when it catches you by surprise. I think it's a shitter, isn't it? When you sort of I don't know what made me think that, but yeah, it's when it because when it's sort of like, oh yeah, we're all going to meet up and have a curry and dare. It's like, oh great, well I'm going to be up till 5 and I'm fine with that. It's when it's sort of like, oh, a few quiet drinks. Because I think the first.
So what does that even mean?
I know. It's sort of like it's like no one actually goes for a pint.
Yeah.
Like unless you're like rushing for a train or something, you don't go for a pint. This is not a thing that happens. It's at least 4, as far as I'm concerned. Like,
2 rounds each, done.
Yeah, boom. So yeah. But that was quite fun because it's like, oh shit, like I'm out. Wow, this is great. I'm out. Ooh, we should if things don't take a turn for the worse, we should do that soon, man. I'll come to you. Fuck it. Like if you can get a night off.
I know. Well, I've been trying to tee that up with Brad as well. Like he was talking about because he's up and down to York a lot at the moment, but I don't know if because York I think is caught or something like South Yorkshire, which is where I think he is, has been caught in the big lockdown. I think.
Yeah, the Tier 3.
Yeah, I need
to. Isn't it?
I need to check with him. But yeah, it'd be good to. It would be really nice, man. But I don't know because then it's like, well, you can't. I mean, Jesus, it's not exactly like the rules are clear, but it's like something to do with you can meet. Can we still meet as 6?
Yeah, I don't know, and it depends on your tierage, doesn't it? Like, because Manchester's like Tier 3.
Yeah,
and if he had left, well, no. If his journey had fallen a day later, it would have been on the lockdown. He wouldn't have been allowed to leave.
Right.
So he left before it was imposed, and then it's going back, I think. But he sort of came down because Cambridge, I think, is still Tier 1. I assume Cambridgeshire, including you, of course, is the same.
Yeah.
But people talk about the phrase "cheeky pint" in the chat, and. I've always liked Lee Evans' joke. What was it? I'll have a packet of cheeky fags, please. What does that? What does that mean?
I think I'm starting to understand. Like I said cheekily to my wife the other day, and I think and then got reprimanded shortly thereafter. I always used to find it quite funny. Like at one point I had a girlfriend whose dad was always because they lived just down the road from a country pub. He was literally always sneaking off for a pint. Like he would, because it was the equivalent of like going down his driveway. Essentially, it wasn't like he had to go far. And he would always say, like, he would always be like, "Right, come on, we're gonna go and do the Duncan's gonna help me with the gardening or whatever." And I was like, "Am I?"
Gardening? Oh, bless him. He wanted someone to go have a drink with.
And then he would sneak out and be like, he was funny. He literally like would go. Right, come on. He'd grab me and we'd like march off up there and be like, we'd have to do it and like make sure his wife was in the blind spot so she couldn't see us like hightail it up the driveway and out the thing. And he would sneak off and she would always be like, where is he? What time is it? He's not home yet. And I've got other mates like that as well. They're always late home because they stopped for a pint. And I never really got it. And then it's like, well, I guess if you're not really into the whole being shouted at by your kids.
Yes, I suppose.
Yeah.
I think I might have said this before, but I'm going to do it again because it's a pleasing image and it's how I choose to remember someone who's no longer with us. But my my ex's dad, so I had one girlfriend I was with for a really long time. He was this sort of like your stereotype straight shooting Yorkshireman, and he was old. Like my dad's old to be my dad, but he was even older. So he was in his 80s when he went, and she was a little bit younger than me. So you get a picture. Used to smoke. Like you wouldn't believe, like smoke, drink, because he was like, I used to be a train driver back in the day, and he used to box when he was in the RAF and stuff like that. You know what I mean? He was like, he was quality. I loved him to bits. He goes, he used to say things like, if she don't like that, she can go fuck spiders. Fuck spiders.
Right.
But I remember, so he used to drink John Smith's, so it's not a particularly high yield booze, but it's a pint of bitter, and he'd always be drinking John Smith's. And I remember going, and he used to be a gardener for the parish where they lived, which is important. I went into his back garden once with my missus, and old Mick was standing there, with a fag in his mouth, a bunch of empty tins of John Smiths lying about. He was fucking blind, by the way. That's important. And he was just
literally.
like not like black. You know, he had very reduced vision. He had cataracts and stuff. So yeah, he
right.
was pretty not very far in front of his face.
Mm.
He had to stop driving and stuff. So standing there with a fag in his gob, empty cans of John Smiths everywhere, just chainsawing shit in his garden. He's like chainsawing in bed. He's like, "Oh, hello, Richard. Would you like a John Smith's?" And gave me a tin. I just stood there, watched him chainsawing a bed in half, pissed, blind, with a fag in his mouth. And I was like, that is the kind of thinking we need. That's the kind of person that we need.
If only he was around now, COVID wouldn't stand a chance, would it?
That's it. He would have gone out pissed and chainsawed it.
Bastard Corbyn! Oh, he fucking Corbyn! Yeah,
Bloody
Have you seen? There's currently an advert on TV for Yorkshire tea, which is so British. Sean Bean in a it's really well observed. It starts on, and it's rare nowadays that we get decent adverts, because nowadays it's like it's all just fucking with free toy, and it's like fuck off. And that horse has been well and truly flogged. Go compare the market? Oh, and go fucking compare. Now they've resorted to putting the bloke what does go compare, not as the go compare man. Go like, hello, I am a man, and I do have a career as an opera singer, but go compare. And it's like, shut up.
There's definitely a very complicated diagram to the lore of the go compare man, because it seems to have been through this whole thing. But
anyway. There's an ad for Yorkshire tea which like starts on like this dreary like it's just like there's like a crow, I think, on the sign, and it's like it's just rain clouds over like an industrial park, one of those just really like indistinct cookie cutter like office blocks on a thing, and then it cuts to inside like a meeting room, and Sean Bean's got like a diagram, and he's like, York, that tea proper brew, and he's like yelling at them, and he's got a thing, and he goes, do it for whatever, and at the end he goes, do it for Yorkshire, and he's just like yelling at the top of his voice in this room full of like young professionals. It's fucking hilarious, man.
I'm into it because I like Sean Bean and I like Yorkshire tea, so I'm down. I'm absolutely down to clown with
it's
that.
So funny, like it's just easy and throwaway, but it's like I want more of that, because ads are like prime. I think they're fertile ground for basically being mini sketches. Like, why don't we do that? It's and I'm part of the problem, I know, because I've done my fair share of them, but it's just like we should be making more funny ads, like properly funny ads.
There used to be some really fun, because what I hate is that you have quite a good concept, and then the character has to turn to the camera and really awkwardly say kind of they've mandated that they have to say some kind of slogan or phrase or kind of description or whatever you use. And it's like, well, you've just sucked all of the humour out of this. If you just did something funny and then said, very liquid, I'd be like, cool, very liquid. You don't have to sort of go like, oh, is it true that it removes 37% more? Blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm not saying don't use those statistics, but at least make it funny, or.
There is that's always that corporate thing that comes in, and that's the secret of they always say in advertising, like don't sell the product, don't sell the benefits of the product, sell who the buyer could be if they had your product. So don't, because if you sit there and you just bombard people with statistics, like you say, or you come up with these contrived scenarios where, I don't know, some woman's just finished her workout and now she's on the blower to her friends to tell them all about how Tenor Lady stops her going pissy pants or whatever, and it's like, and the way they talk is so ridiculous. It's like, yeah, did you know it saves up to 10%? Blah, blah, blah. And I've been in those castings and I've been in those adverts, and they say, with a straight face, someone will come up to you and go, that was really great, really love that take, the client loved it as well, although he's not going to tell you that, but could you try and do it a bit more light, a bit more conversational? And it's like, God. Are you kidding me? Like, yeah, just imagine you're having this conversation. I tore a strip. Well, I didn't tear a strip, but I said to a guy once who just kept giving me the same direction. It was on a corporate, it wasn't on an ad, but he was like, say it more conversational. And I was like, but it's not written like a conversation. It's wrten, did you know that over 5,000 blah-de-blahs do things in that? And it's like, and I was
from Ipsos Mori, people don't speak like this.
No, I was like, that's not a conversation, mate. Like, it's a monologue about a product. And he's like, I was like, I don't know what you mean. Like, you're just saying the same thing again. What? Yeah. And so they say that, and it's just like, because they're expecting to just sort of for you to pull something out of your ass, and it's like, well, that's not how conversations work, is it? I'm not going to phone anyone up ever and read them the stats.
It's extolling statistical virtue of a product. Like, as if you like something, it would be like, a good example is like if there's a new drink out that's not really a beer or a wine. You know what I mean? There's like some new drink out. You'd be just like,
it's weird.
It's weird.
Doctor Weird.
Bine. But you know what I mean? You'd just be like, mate, have you tried Bine? Have you tried Bine? It's like,
yeah, it's not a wine.
It's 15% lager that's fizzy but tastes of vinegar and grapes, and everybody's drinking it all the time. It's Bine.
Did I tell you? I'm sure I've told this story before, but I did an advert for Electrolux for their, what was it? The Ergo Rapido, which is like their vacuum. Right, it's their sort of upright cordless vacuum cleaner, right? And I got hauled over the coals because the inventor or whatever was there. This guy from Electrolux, it's very acerbic kind of.
Was it a man with kind of crazy hair carrying piles of notes with like two pairs of glasses?
He was very much he had a rather nice IWC watch, but he was very just very Teutonic and stolid and German, basically Germanic. And at one point I was going, so when we get the Hoover out, and he kept going, it's not the Hoover. And I went, it's not a Hoover. and like crickets. I'm not kidding. The directors laughed afterwards at it, but he was like, I just couldn't help myself. I was like, that's such an obvious reference. Does no one get that? Like,
well, that's the problem. You can't keep it up. You can't keep it inside, can you? Sometimes you know it's going to land like a sort of soggy turd, but you still sort of do it.
Yeah. But that was there you go. That's why I haven't worked in years. No.
Because you called an Electrolux a Hoover. Tannoy's a brand.
Yeah, I know. Actually, that reminds me. I'm going to write this down because I need to shoot a self-tape in the morning for an advert.
Duncan Casey plays a cyberpunk. I say that to Duncan all the time. For some reason, I think that's the funniest thing. I recently said, I recently was directing a client, and I said, okay, so what you're basically explaining is why when you joined Bus Company X, but he didn't work for Bus Company X, he works for Bus Company Y, and Bus Company X are their bitter rivals. And I asked him why he works for them, and he's like, it's not fucking Bus Company, this is Bus Company Y. And I was kind of like, oh yeah, the thing that's written all over the call sheet, the buses, the building, the emails I received, your uniform,
Go Whip It.
Their uniform. Oh, no. It was Whip It, yeah.
Oh, was it? That's the only one I know.
It was Whip It versus Stagecoach. I fuck it, who cares? Regional bus companies. I went like, okay, so how long? Well, I don't know. People don't know the bus companies here. I don't want to dox Whip It.
It's not doxing, is it? Like, and I'm sure people can find their corporate address without much of a problem.
It's in Long Stanton. I wield such power over the world of Cambridge Mass Transit. But fuck it. I said to the guy from Whip It, like, so, you know, how long have you been working? But just tell us how long you've worked for Stagecoach. He's like, this is Whip It. It's Whip It, it's not Stagecoach. So, yeah, I literally did the one thing I shouldn't have done. It was fine. They were nice. I did that early in the morning, and I think they'd forgotten by the afternoon.
There you go. Yeah, if you're going to fuck up early.
They've already hired you. They're not going to get someone else in, are they? Not on the same day. Freelancing's great like that sometimes.
I did an advert for a company that's gone bust now, and I can't remember what they were called, but they were like a trading app or whatever. The guy, I remember going to the wardrobe fitting. That's right, and I just won an award. I think it's when I won the award for Kenneth, actually, for best actor at Edinburgh. And the guy, I came in all full of myself, and I was like, you know, when you like have a thing you really want to tell people, but you can't organically just insert it into a conversation, much like reading extolling the virtues of a product over the phone. And I kind of like eventually got around to saying, Oh, by the way, I won an award last night for real, and he just went, yeah. And I was like, oh right, okay.
Oh, probably me next. That's fucking.
He
Yeah.
just literally went, who hasn't? And I was like, oh, all right, fucking hell.
Fucking Jesus
Yeah,
Christ. That's
so
like
shot me down in flames, and I knew then that I will never ever brag about that again.
just letting off in your face, isn't he?
Rob just put in the. What did he write? He says, Duncan, I think I blew a chance to meet Arnold years back printing out storyboards for End of Days title sequence. Went into the office and told the creative lead, your storyboards, give them to me now. Yeah, I think maybe. He said, who did that? Who said that? Get him out.
It's fired.
Yeah. This End of Days movie is going to be the best movie since the Terminator. I'm telling you.
Fucking End of Days. I remember Johnny Vaughan talking to Schwarzenegger on the movie show. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that was one of those like sort of one of the last few Schwarzenegger films where he did the because he do like Howard Stern like in a big way, and they made a big deal out of that movie, and it was just not much of anything really. It was weird, that film, because it kind of just came and went like a fart in a hurricane, and now it's like
late stage Schwarzenegger, isn't it? It's just so. But in this movie, I die and I cry.
And I say Thomas Aquinas.
Thomas Aquinas, you're a fucking choir boy, etc.
Oh yes, yeah, of course. Tell Gabriel Byrne to go fuck himself or whatever.
I love that. It's in the fucking end of the sixth day, when the clone of the guy lands on the guy, and it looks somewhat like they're having intercourse, and it's the way it's just the most awkward delivery. He goes, here, when I told you to go fuck yourself, I did not mean for you to take it literally, by which I'm saying it looks somewhat as if you're having like, he doesn't actually carry on like that, but he might as well, because it's this really plodding sort of signposted, and it's like, oh, doy.
Who
really?
did that? Wasn't that Who directed End of Days?
Roger Spotswood.
It was Spotswood. Yeah, I thought it was.
Of Stop or Your Mum Will Shoot fame.
And Tomorrow Never Dies.
Yeah, but mostly Stop Your Mum Will Shoot. Spotswood.
Yeah.
I really kind of wish, and if End of Days had been made in 1988 by Verhoeven, which I've said many times, everyone would love it. It just didn't have that film needed a bit more edge. If they'd done more balls out, because he was trying to get the family movies. If he'd been a bit more balls out and done a kind of violent, nasty End of Days of a cool Sixth Day with a cool director, I think it'd be a really cool film. I still kind of like it.
Yeah, it's a bit Mickey Mouse, but I know what you mean. Yeah, I think it could have been better. Like, that poster doesn't do it any favours either, with Arnold just blankly staring into those weird goggle things.
That's kind of peak hubris, isn't it? Peak Arnold hubris, because I'm sure they just thought, just put his face on a poster, people would watch it. It was that stage.
Well, I would argue Terminator 3 was the peak of that, because it was put his face on it and put Terminator in it, and that's it.
And some fucking Oakleys.
Yes, of course, yeah.
Just like, why? No. There's a bit in Stark Fate that I do actually really like, is when stupid Carl Terminator is going to leave the house and he picks up the sunglasses and doesn't put them on. And it's like, that's cool, but considering literally everything else you've done, that's a meaningless gesture.
Yeah, well, because isn't the point that
he's not a Terminator, he's a man.
Yeah, he's a man now, or whatever.
Whatever, or something, I guess.
Something, I don't know. We've lost the will to film. But yeah, that film is. I keep thinking about I don't have time to watch anything, but I mean, if I did, I keep sort of seeing it's on Now TV, and I keep thinking, oh, maybe I'll check it out again.
That might, again, we'll get shit from it, but I'm sorry. I'm just monitoring. We're getting texts on my watch, and my dad's been ill, so I'm just going to look at that.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
That's all right. I think it's more important.
Sorry. We're wrapping up soon.
Yeah. If you need to go, man, go. I mean...
No, it's fine. I don't think there's a lot we can do at the moment. It's fine. I can't do anything. It's fine. Sorry, it's depressing, isn't it? Yeah, so, I mean... I wouldn't mind to put Dark Fate on a much like to Robocop 2 earlier, put Dark Fate on a poll, but then people just say stop talking about Terminator stuff or whatever. Dark Fate is a watch party. We could just sit and I think there's an interesting discussion we had, but also it's one of those ones we could just tune out and not really pay attention.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, there's lots. I mean, I think the thing with these, like our format of stuff now, it's like if you talk about any film in a like franchise like that, it just opens up to discussion about the whole thing. I mean, especially that one. Like, it just means we could watch any of them. We'll end up talking about all of them because, of course, you will. You know, so it's like we can watch that, but it will just descend into A, why we hate it, and then B, like, you know, it's place in everything else, and so it's
sort of like when we did the Predator, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah. They're just another in a long line of obnoxious. We're the real Terminator 3 or Halloween 2, or you know, it's like, are you that arrogant that you can just go, no, excuse me, no?
I think we talked about it last week. Just like Dark Fate weirdly shares a lot with the new Halloween. A lot of parallels in it. I mean, man, I can imagine just in your position where your time to consume this stuff is at such a premium. Just the idea of you watching Dark Fate, it's like, don't do it, man.
Well, my wife and I were literally like, we signed up to Now TV, and we were kind of like, why did we bother? Because we literally just sit and watch fucking Bake Off every night. Because it's the one thing you can kind of watch, and not if if the baby's screaming, you can sort of at least visually understand what's going on. But to try and get into a whole new series, I mean, we managed to squeak out the first episode of Des last night, which I was super grateful for, because she was kind of quiet. But she has, we call it the witching hour or whatever. It's like before bed, she just shouts for like an hour or two, and there's inconsolably yells at us. But we take it because we're like, at least we get a night of sleep.
Yeah.
But it's so we just don't get to watch anything properly at the moment. But that will change. I mean, you know, the good thing about all this stuff is it's all micro climates, and they grow out of stuff pretty quick. So I'll be back to it soon. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind. We could put Dark Fate maybe on a poll at some point.
Well, next week we've got more horror, and actually there are 5 Thursdays in October, so we've got 2 more weeks of spooky horror.
What are we gonna do? Are you gonna put up the ones for next week?
If that's all right, because I think I know what I would like to do.
Okay, and then I'll do the last week.
And you do the last week, yeah.
All right,
Unless,
that's fine.
I mean, but however, if some bolt of inspiration comes to you between now and then, just tell me.
Spoilers, I bet it's cocking zombies next week.
No, I've already done it, you bastard. I was going to think
it's not zombies, okay?
It's
28 days later, they're not zombies.
No, I'm not. I don't play that game because that fucks me off.
The crazy.
Danny Boyle needed a slap for that. They're not zombies. I'll get your head out your fucking arse, mate. I mean, they're technically not, but guess what? You made a fucking zombie film. And, and the worst part is acting ashamed about it.
Yeah.
Fucker. If you're that so much. Oh, I know. Why don't you go and make a Beatles jukebox musical? Cunt. He's not. I really like his films. Like, I haven't seen Yesterday because I'm not a cunt. No, I don't mean that. People I know and care about.
Ellie's gonna
Ellie's going to come and murder me, and as well she should.
Yeah.
I was bloody mean about John Lennon to her bloody face when she very kindly come and guested on the stream.
Oh, yeah.
Because I got no decorum because I'm a bag of shite. Yeah, bag of shite. Shite.
Cockney. Floyd Dillon says cocking zombies. You mean Cockney versus zombies? Yeah, my friend produced that.
Oh, cool. I didn't mind that. I thought it was quite fun, actually.
I never saw it, but yeah, it was the first in a long line of let's try and jump on that bandwagon.
Oh,
it was the carpet fitters
so...
versus vampires or something.
On paper, Cockneys versus zombies is just like, no, stop. Yeah. But I sat and watched it one night on horror or something, and I was like, hey, this is actually quite fun. And you know, it's got Alan Ford in it, so there you go.
And Honor Blackman, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Oh, I think so. Yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah. That joke about Honor Blackman doesn't work anymore.
Which one?
You go like,
you gotta do it now.
Oh, I can't remember how it goes.
Is it something about pussy galore?
Yeah. Oh, never mind. It's a proper boomer joke anyway.
Okay.
Anyway, forget that. Yeah. No, I wanted to do. Somebody in the chat who should make themselves known to me said, "What if you did Jason films? Would you do these 3 Jason films?" And I was like, that's exactly the 3 Jason films I would do, which would be Jason Takes Manhattan, Jason X, and Freddy versus Jason would be the 3 I would put up. And
okay.
Then have a Jason week.
Is that next week then?
I thought so. You don't have to stick to that.
I've
I don't want it to be something that you're going to hate. I don't want to drag you into a thing you don't want to do.
Of the Friday the 13th series, I've seen the first one. I've seen the remake. I've seen Freddy versus Jason. I've seen more than I thought I had, actually. Freddy versus Jason. I've seen some of Jason X. Not all of it.
Freddy versus Jason is on Netflix.
Yeah. It won't be if it gets chosen and we get
yes, it'll go on Wednesday.
We'll have to pay for the bastard. Just before it goes on Prime, wasn't it?
Yeah, fuck's sake. But yeah, that's what I was thinking, because whoever that was said that, and it was just like, yeah, those are exactly the ones I'd fucking choose. But, you know, maybe something different. And again, if you have some kind of bolt of inspiration between now and then just let me know. But
yeah, I mean, I'm not yeah, I don't mind. I don't know them that well, but that's not the point.
Yeah, well, I would say, like, Jason X and Jason Takes Manhattan is kind of an excuse to dick about. Oh, it's Sam Montgomery. So cheers, Sam. Yes, very good. Those are the 3 I would choose. Freddy versus Jason. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, Freddy versus Jason. I think there's an interesting discussion to be had there, and I think it's actually a legitimately really entertaining film. Jason X is interesting in its own right, but I think Jason X and Jason Takes Manhattan would be an excuse to dick about.
Okay.
As I think, in a spooky way.
Those really were, like, when you grow up and you watch those and you go like, oh, these were never really meant to be scary. Because they're not scary at all. But yeah, man, it's that would work.
Something to do, innit?
Something to do. Fills the time.
Well, let's end this.
Let's do it.
Right, so we're going to smash cut to those credits. We love you. I'll be on tomorrow night doing a live stream for private for Patreon. Up watching stuff. Pull movie out of hat or something.
And if you want to know my bottom 5 and top 5 James Bond films, that I'll just read out off a piece of paper because I don't have time to film a thing, edit a thing. Because I thought about doing that, like you said, doing a vlog. But then I was like, I would have to get 10 James Bond films, put them on my computer, chop up the scenes I want.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not doing that.
No, fair. I mean, in terms of your time and stuff. No, do it as a vlog,
yeah.
I think.
But we'll do it as a, I'll do that as a jumping off point, and then we'll have a Q&A for an hour at some point, probably next week. So,
excellent.
Sounds good.
Get ready for this. By the way, I don't know if you heard I think you heard Ivan doing his Vincent Price impression, but to get his voice ready, he said, spooky goblins. And I just keep saying spooky goblins to myself and laughing.
Spooky goblins. I haven't really done... I did learn one for Cordery Effects.
Cordery Effects, yeah.
Last year,
that was
but I haven't...
as well.
Yeah. It's the only time I've done it, really. Anyway,
cut to credits.
Bye now.
Bye.